Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. Pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
Hey guys, good morning, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Masalting awak, mayong buntag. Oh, British Expat, let me address you real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
I had a few
Okay,
words to
now,
say a minute ago.
Not in anybody in particular. The thing is, we get this response a lot. For those of you again, don't
From
worry.
several
I'll get
channels,
back
and-
from us several channels. British Expat says, I declined
good
your
morning.
offer to join your channel simply because of your association with other negative channels. Now be aware that
Mike, people refer to Mike as being negative. I find Mike, as an American expat woman, to be pretty spot on. And as I tell George, when you hear that type of response, it's because the truth or the things that he's putting out or that we're putting out actually rub people the wrong way. We're not like here to blow smoke up people's butts. We're not here to go into the coddling of people. We're not here to we're just truth spitters, and we're not here doing the dating scenes and all this. The ones that we find to be putting the truth out, like, like I like Sunshine Shoulders. A lot of people like Sunshine Shoulders.
hey Calvin.
But there are things that I disagree with him, like I do Mike. I disagree with a lot of things on Mike, but his truths are the truths. We were asking you to come on, which I see you came into the room today to have a discussion with you. Again, it promotes your channel, and to discuss your constant topics on discussing Americans. And somebody had mentioned you before, and I said it's because that is your shtick. You tend to talk about Americans and certain expats, and it's grown your channel. It's some of the higher numbers that you're having, and I just wanted to question you why. We do not have to bring Mike on at the same time, but for you to come on and say because of our negative, because of the association with the negative channel. Yeah, we have Andy Omar in here too. We've heard this from several channels, and that's fine. I feel I call it. There's a few things I would like to say, but that's that's his prerogative and everything.
Well, I
But,
mean, and like I said, actually, this is actually a perfect example. Be aware that for the most part, we try to be fair as possible. Keyword, try to be fair. And the reason why I say try to be
you
fair
can't
is because
please
everybody, right, you can't please everybody. Everybody has their own opinions, even me. I mean, I try to give you the two sides of the coin no matter what, whether you like it or not. Like right now, like I'm telling you right now again that, remember, this is a channel. It doesn't necessarily mean birds of feather flock together. And like
Yes.
we always say, it doesn't mean we have guests in our live. We agree or disagree
And
on their
which
viewpoints.
correct.
And I even say this a lot. If you can check our other past lives, everybody has a best friend. Pick your best friend.
Mhm.
Do you and your best friend go into heated arguments? Yes.
Yep.
There is no such thing that you have a friend and you agree 100% completely. And point being is everybody is different. Everybody's an individual. Don't put people in boxes. That's all I'm saying.
Right. And
Be
this will
fair.
give you a chance. Like if regular guy comes in here, or if Mark Thornton, we've invited Mark Thornton on here, we're sure that they're all aware of our channel. That it kind of gives you a chance because we're aware that a lot of our people and your people watch the channel. So it's okay. We've already told the viewers it's okay that people, I'm trying to get the link now. We didn't plan to put it out this soon, but I'll
Oh,
get that
it
for
says
you.
send the link then.
Yeah, so I'll send the link here in a
Yeah.
minute and I'm going to put it inside of this. But it just gives you a chance
Yeah.
to answer why. Now, our channel specifically won't go into the full things that Mike does. Our format is a little different. It just gives you a chance to say your piece on why it's always. I've only seen so many of your videos. We have seen your videos. It just always seems to be, the titles mostly and the thumbnails seem to be, well, thumbnails maybe not geared at Americans. I'm just curious why. So yeah, so give us a minute on that. Also want to let you know what the live stream is going to be about. We did invite the British expat in to actually talk, but that was a couple days ago to see if he wanted to join in regards to that. We will also be talking about Every Man Has a Story, actually released a few more boxes a couple days ago. So Steve and Jen and Charlene were there and they were going through like the boxes. And I told George, I said, yes, one man's junk literally is another man's treasure or another lady's treasure. So a little bit on that. Then we have the glue lady scam, and then we will get into the regular guy. And basically, in a nutshell, we think that he's a he does a lot of he's a positive guy for the most part. We've heard him like gripe and moan like I do. I've done it too. He shows a lot of the country. He goes into some of the other areas, but here lately he's been doing where he's been focusing on the Filipinas and a specific one, and it's just a word of advice for him and what you guys actually think of it. And then of course we have the British expat in the house. I wanted to ask George real quick. I'd probably hold on the comments unless you actually see a member. Just quick shout outs: Bruce Davis, Tim Husk. I don't have.
Yeah. And again, Bruce Davis actually brought up a good point. Again, John has a right to his opinion. I think it auto corrected his statement. Has a right to his opinion, just like everybody else.
Correct.
Everybody has a right to their opinion,
And it will
like
give,
everybody else.
yeah, it will
Correct.
give people a voice to be able to say, if you want to come on and say you don't on Mike and then ask us that it's just you, that's fine. Understand we do let Mike in. So only if we'll ask you whether you want him, if he shows up or not. Just let us know on that. But it does give people another voice because we know that people have opinions about some of the other vloggers that have been saying things, but you always notice there's like no emails to get in or you can't get a say about things. And hey, Ace Bachelor.
Hey, Ace, what's up, man? How you doing?
Ace, why don't you come on here and say, hey, when are we going to hook up? That didn't sound
yeah,
right.
it doesn't sound right.
Well, what I meant to say
Oh,
was so
okay.
we could teach.
Now
we could
here's
teach
the
some
thing.
school.
When I first moved into the US, now remember, hookup has two different things. It's
Oh,
either, you guys just hang out or just But guess what? I'm literally fresh off the boat. I was in San Diego, California, and
Hey, Big
I
Dave.
talked to the ladies. I said, "Hey, why don't you give me your digits and we'll hook up?" And I'm like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, it didn't sound right.
oh my god."
Brent's World is in the house. PH Expat Preppers in the house. Tim Husk. Hello to our members. Scott in the world as I see it, I believe was further up. I might have missed that. California Bear. Joe Matt is in the house, and of course Ted. A big shout out to Ted Dinkins for actually moderating. I might have missed. I don't see Scott yet.
I didn't see him. Yes.
And Michael Johnson, Music to Motion, is in the house with his
Hey,
beautiful
Michael
family.
Johnson.
And hello.
How you doing?
Hello. And of course, Carl said, hey to Scotty Boy. Scotty Boy is an actual subscriber to us. He has been on MYK's channel before, and he's been on a lot of channels. He came up in the vlogging world pretty quick. He used to drop in channels saying hi and chatting and stuff. He used to drop stickers on people. He came in telling stories and using Google Maps, and he would tell these wild tales. Now he's officially here. He said, I believe he said he came from Korea or something. He was teaching or something.
Yeah, Korea.
And
Yes.
then he arrived here. And we've been watching him since. We don't watch every single thing, but here lately he's been getting in more and more and more into the baby-roonies, as he would call them. Yeah, I'm getting it, baby. Yeah. Let's start with him first. Yeah, no, I'm getting it right now. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
doing three
hey,
things at once.
John, British expat. We're gonna
I'm getting it right now from StreamYard.
yeah, we're gonna drop the link.
No,
in
we'll
a
bring
few.
him in first and then cover the
Yeah.
other channels. And there it is. Sorry. Usually I have that ready, but we usually drop that after we go through some of the things. We
Yeah.
just weren't sure if you'd come in, but we did put a note here about there's a possibility you were coming.
Did you want me to just play no audio? Or do you want me to play the audio then translate?
Let's bring in him if he wants to come in.
Did
Maybe
you
we'll
post it already?
cover. Yeah, so I'm trying. Let me get.
Oh, okay. Thanks. He says okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. While you're
I got it right now.
okay.
So, there it is. Copy.
Scotty Boy is teaching in English in Korea, but now does the Rooney in blogging. He is now in Ormoc later.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
No. Sorry, Scotty. I'm not really making fun of you, but
it's what he actually does.
Yeah.
All right, so I have pinned that. That is for. We will be allowing him to come in only right now. And I should have prepped more on. So I put that in there, so I don't know what you're doing. You can like bring up some comments till we get going.
All right.
And I believe British Expat is actually a subscriber of ours too.
Oh yes. Oh
yes, I'm almost. I remember a few of the bigger channels had actually.
Oh, there's Bruce. Bruce is in the house. Bruce is in the green room. Joel Matt. He's in California right now. Present, he says. Ted Dinkins. Hello, Heidi and George, and the rest of you beautiful people. This is a good day. Yes, it is. Carl says, hey, Scotty Boy. Scotty Boy, if you're watching, Carl says hi to you. Michael Johnson, Music Emotion. Howdy, friends. Tim Huss says, hi, Heidi and George, evening from the mistake on the lake. That must be an old saying in your area.
Now here lately,
we live in the mistake on the lake. Mistake on the lake in the area in Ohio. It's funny. Oh my
mistake
gosh.
on the lake.
Hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Sounds like the day I was conceived.
All right.
Sorry
well, I think that's what it. Yeah, that's what it connotes to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was you out camping or went to summer camp?
It's hilarious. Yeah. Well, his parents.
I went to summer camp. I told George in the Hocking Hill Mountains. I believe it was considered Canton, Ohio. But we went to Camp Odioqua. So it was several years as young teenagers and young girls. It was a great summer camp. I used to talk about it. Remember, I told you that after the big meals, they turned us loose to go to the swimming pool, which I think we got to swim to about 7, 8 o'clock at night, about an hour into darkness. But we used to go to the canteen. They called it canteen, and that we would get like red cream soda. Literally, it was red, and of course, I didn't know I was allergic and all hyperactive over the red. But it was pretty good. But we used to get snacks and everything, and used to hang out all night and everything. But
Yeah.
like I said, we did drop the link there.
California Bear, good morning from San Diego.
Good morning. Well, I want to let him in. We just announced that we were just going to let. So,
Well, no, I know.
yeah, Bruce, we might have you hold for a minute because we're going to bring
That's
in
what I said.
British
We're waiting on the
expat
green
to come
room
in, and then
to
we do
open up,
have
yeah.
3 stories.
Right.
Are you going to come in and do something pretty brief? Because we can let you. Okay, we'll let you in for a second to say hey, and then we'll bring you back in later if you want to come in. We're going to bring our guy Bruce in real quick until we get British expat. Adam and see what's going on.
All right, hi guys. Say hi to Bruce Davis. He's got his own channel.
Nobody's saying hi to Bruce.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, just for a second.
There's Bruce. All right, your second is up. All right, here we go. So Tim Huss says Ted and Bear. Roy Estrada says go Heidi, get George.
Oh, you want me? Is it pick on George Day? You guys missed that. We had the webcams on in the house, and me and him had it out before the live stream. And
you said a second.
I basically just wanted to say that, you know, I'm not here like picking on John or saying anything disrespectful to him. I basically just had that question is like we all have. It's just basic simple things. I don't take things too personally, but if it's something like I think like if it's about pensions or more like Americans making more money, I think that that is kind of ridiculous because John probably has more money than I do. I'm just lucky that I can go. I'm just lucky that I can, be able to get a place. It's not going to be probably as big as his, but I'll be happy. My girlfriend will be happy. That's all that matters. But if you think every American has all these big pensions and they're making all this big money, I don't think so. All right. My dad was a Navy guy for years. My dad don't get no pension from the Navy. Okay.
Right. So a lot of us are going to be on a basic retirement and stuff. We're on an average. They said the average guy here, they're not all super rich and everything. We all pretty much live the same. And most of them are on that 1,500, 1,600, 1,700, either disability, Social Security, or something from the military, or actually both. But it's always X amount. And then you have a small percentage, and it's already been proven, the percentage that did the savings and planning and all that. And what is it, about 10, 15% of Americans? It's not a whole lot that actually do. But what I do notice is I'm going back over his account because it came out because a lot of our people emailed us and we didn't get tied up into it. But the more we kept hearing from people, and we really haven't formed an opinion, is looking in on the account. That's what he has. Americanos, expats letting the side down, expat Americano. Can you say no? American, Australian, and British expats. I don't see the rest of them. I'm just going down the list here. And I personally think it's just because it's his shtick. I think it's, like every channel is a little different than what they actually are in person. So I think maybe that's just for his channel, or have you watched them and you feel differently on that?
Well, I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest to the folks here, okay? Because I shoot it straight. It's like this. His thought, he has some good thoughts of the day. And I'm going to be the first one to say that there was a few that I thought about for days upon days, okay? Just thinking about what he said. But when you sit here and put down people because maybe a few bad apples chose to do stuff, again, I've got lots of friends. I've been in the Philippine community for a long time, since 2015. And I've got people saying, I don't want you to come here. Friends of mine, I don't want you to come here because we don't want no trouble in our neighborhoods. That's all I'm going to say. I'll come back up later. I don't want to bother you guys, so I'll be back up.
All right, well, come back up later. We appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm looking at his vlogs, and his number one most popular video is why are Americans abandoning, I believe it's the Philippines. But again, remember, a lot of them will use words in their titles. They're told to do so. We've been told to do so by our YouTube manager. So it's things that has to bring the people in to look. Okay. So yeah, why are Americans abandoning? This was a year ago, the Philippines. And there's just remember, guys, a lot of people believe that there's nothing but Americans here. And like Bruce just said, we can't group everybody together because of bad apples, and people tend to do that. They put them in a category. I'm not saying that's what the British expat is actually doing. The next one was Philippine veterans. It was a funeral. Looking to see if any of his popular ones. Yes, he covered 4 months ago Tim K, American in the firing line. The next one after that was Americans, Filipino women want your money. Americans after that, exposing Americans. So that flat out title, Americans exposing Americans, and he was talking about Dumageddon. So yeah, just a couple things. It just seems like American is in there quite a bit, and we've been contacted. I know there was a thing with Mike and Mike, Mike's Philippine journey and Mike's our Philippine journey, and then Mike from our Philippine journey. There was a thing that went around where it got down to going back and forth about, is what pretty much brass taxes, who had the money and who didn't. And like we said, it doesn't matter if you're what you're building or how you're actually living. It's your everyday actions, and if your content is helping somebody. And he does walk around and discuss what's going on in his area. And so, like I said, everybody has their own shtick. That's all I can actually say.
Right. Now, again, this is it's not a dig at John, the British expat. Okay, first off, and where my angle is. Okay, first off, I'm gonna tell you the Filipino point of view, but also a good, healthy, salt version of the Western mentality. Now, first off, John, if you are still in the room, first off, again, be aware. I've watched your vlogs, and okay. Now, what I'm getting at is, unfortunately, guys, and now I'm talking to the audience.
Come here. You wanna- come
Don't let anybody judge you. Okay.
here. Yeah, you're all.
What I'm getting at is, don't let anybody judge you even more so on your dwellings. And here's the thing: a Filipino will respect you more if you live more humbly. Meaning, if you live in a nipa hut or a hollow brick building. For honestly, Filipinos don't care. They really don't. But the fact that you do, they give you more of a thumbs up. Like, hey, he doesn't think he's better than us. He doesn't. That kind of deal. And they kind of give you like a thumbs up, props up. They may not say this, but they say, well, you know what? At least he's amongst us. He doesn't live in his okay. Again, not picking on anybody. He doesn't live in his ivory tower, and he thinks he's better than everybody else. Now, the problem you face is actually off camera, off live. Actually, I believe it was yesterday. We didn't have a live yesterday. I told Heidi, I said, you know, nobody cares if you live in a hollow brick house or a nipa hut.
Filipinas and Filipinos.
They really don't care.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, I'm not being mean to anybody else because you want a better life for you. But what I'm saying is, in the end, does it matter? Think about it. I mean, the best people I know are the poorest people I know, even in the US. The poorest people I know in the US give you what they've got. The richest people in the US don't give you crap. You know what I'm saying? It's what matters is here. I mean, I know I sound cheesy, but really, honestly, this is how I look at people. And this
Yeah.
is how you should look at people. Because we have a nicer wall behind us, does that make us better than anybody else that do
or
their vlogs on
nicer or
Nipa
more
Hots or
educated
Hollow
or
Brick House. No, it doesn't. Because first
but
off,
there are other channels
correct.
and other people that actually will based on but
Right. And
it's
I
just
mean this with all my heart, and I mean this with all my heart too when I say everybody's created equal. It doesn't matter what you think in the end. We're all the same. Unless you have three legs or one leg. I mean, we put our pair of pants the same way,
um
but you get the picture.
right. For those that are just entering the room at the very beginning of the chat, you'll see we had invited a few days ago that, and I keep calling him John, but I do see a different name for him. We had invited him if he wanted to come in because this is Spill the Tea Saturday. We usually go in and cover different topics. We do have other topics we will cover. I will also invite anybody that we're actually talking about today, including later about Mark Thornton and one man's trash is another man's treasure or her treasure, who knows which. And then who actually wants to come in the room. We have put a link out there for the British expat to join because we were just wanting to find out more about him as a person. We cannot
In all
watch every
fairness, in all
in the
fairness,
fairness. We don't know all of his vlogs. We want him to speak about it. We do get other channels that have somewhat disassociated for multiple reasons. They may not like the way that me and George actually do the channel. They may not like me as an American expat. They may not like that we do expose a lot of things. They may not like when me and George fight. There's many reasons why people want to disassociate from us. But a lot of it is because we don't cover the bachelor situation. It's because we do believe that a lot of the channels that we do associate with do put out a lot of the truths, and that's something that we don't get paid. I hate to say it, we don't get paid enough to keep quiet. So it's not, it's kind of hard to explain. The ones that are putting out things that are attracting the viewers in, such as double expat drama, and the ones that are we're not going to sit there and do a ton of interviews. We're not going to sit there and bring a bunch of women on the channel or follow them around with cameras or do walking street or sit around and do so much travel that it's promoting the country that you actually go broke. Or you do a bunch of, what do you call that? We call it cheap Charlie travel, where we kind of put the regular guy, but we're just not going to cover those things, and it doesn't attract everybody as far as watching.
well, remember, not every channel is for everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
And again, I'm not
So,
gonna go deeper into John British expat because again, he's not here
yeah,
to defend himself, nor do I have. I know what I mean.
really nothing to
Question,
defend. Just
right? Well,
curious
that's what I'm
why. A
saying.
lot of people are
I
curious because.
could I could put questions up, but I can't answer them for him.
Right. There's
Right.
there's like this thing, like I said, that went back and forth with two other channels, our Philippine Journey and then Mike's Philippine Journey. And both of them, it came down to income and why Americans and all that. And we still continue to get messages on it. And then I went in there and we've watched some of his vlogs. I have. George has seen some of them. And then I just looked again, being as we know that he's in the room, and quite a few do have it. We just didn't go into a full study of, like the
Right.
topics we have
And I
right now.
mean, John, if you're still in the room again,
He
be
could be
aware
setting up
I'm gonna
StreamYard.
be asking you like the real hard hitting questions, like which hand do you astronate with your right hand or your left hand? You know, that kind of stuff.
If he uses glue or peanut butter to put the bricks together for the house,
Correct.
if he's got an all-female crew
Does he
building.
use Shibari lube or does he use canola oil? I'm kidding, guys. But anyway.
What?
Oh, you can buy that on Lazada. So you go on Lazada, okay, and you type it's spelled as
What's that movie we just
what's
watched?
that?
The new one on Amazon. That was hilarious with John Cena in there. His whole thing in the Vegas small casino that he was in
Ricky Stenicki.
was that the name of the movie? Ricky
Ricky
Stenicki.
Stenicki.
It's
Ricky
a fun
Stenicki.
movie.
Okay, first off, okay, I watched well, everybody's watched John Cena, right? I wasn't a big fan of his movies as an action hero, but I did watch them. But as a comedian and as Peacemaker, as in DC Universe, he's freaking hilarious. But anyway,
I'm gonna drop
great
the link
movie.
again. Not that I think that
Yeah.
he missed it. We're gonna move on to the first story then, guys, while we're waiting to see if he's gonna come in.
Oh yeah, you never did answer. You want the audio one? Or you want the audio off? How do you want this? It's probably from the cat.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong, but I would stop it if there's some translating, of course. How long is it, the clip? We're going to start with the glue lady scam.
All right, now
While we're waiting for John, and
now
then
be
we'll hold
aware
him
the
in
glue lady thing. I'm gonna tell you right now. First off, I don't think the whole MO or modus operandi, as it were, is in the video. So don't question the modus operandi. The reason
Yeah,
being
for
is because I
copycats.
really don't think the news agency wants to broadcast how to scam people. So if the MO doesn't make sense to you, that's the reason why. You're trying to hide how to do it, if that makes any sense. I'm just giving that to you right now. Because some of you be like, that doesn't make sense. It's because they're trying to make sure nobody else copycats it. If that makes any sense. All right. But it is diabolical though. So and this is new. This is completely new. And I hate to say it, it'll work in the US too.
It probably will. It's pretty ingenious. Understand scams happen all over the world, guys. But it did. We do. There was also a photo like showing how it worked, but the video will tell more. This just came out yesterday. This came out a while after the persons had sent us messages on Messenger and through our emails. And I think this has been going on for a little bit, but it's now just coming in the news. So yeah, go ahead and drop that.
All
And
right.
then
Ingat ang PNP ang mga senior citizens na nagwi-withdraw ng pera sa mga ATM laban sa bagong modus na tatawag na Glue Lady.
Okay, so the Philippine National Police have basically an AVP on the glue lady.
Nasa frontline na balitang yan si Faith Del Mundo.
May bago raw modus ang mga kawatan at ang target nila, mga nagwi-withdraw sa mga automated teller machine o ATM. Ang siste, magpapanggap na empleyado ng bangko ang suspect at magkukunwaring tutulungan ng biktima.
Okay, so there's a new scam that regards to people who use ATM machines. It involves a lady
scam.
who pretends to be a bank employee,
Yeah, buddy.
and then they approach them and
Sa pag-withdraw. Ayon sa Philippine National Police, mga senior citizen daw ang madalas na biktima na tinatawag nilang Blue Lady modus. Sa simula, lalapitan ng kawatan ng matanda at kunwaring tutulungan ng biktima. Kapag sinabi na ng biktima ang
okay, so they said they usually target the elderly, which makes sense. I mean, even when it comes to what phone scams, when it comes to your computer virus software, even though that fake malware stuff, they usually target the elderly.
And they do usually in the US
Right.
and Europe and stuff. It's the ones that are, most vulnerable.
Right.
I understand that.
So they target the ones that are elderly, which I mean, it may not work on you only because if you obviously look like an expat. I'm not quite sure how well this quote unquote lady is as far as English is
It
concerned,
would
but
probably
it may work
really
still.
work on the foreigner because
It
we
still
had an
may
issue
work, yes.
like a year and a half ago where some of the money didn't come out, and that's the first thing you did was go inside.
Correct.
So if somebody would have told him that after it happened, then or me, I would have went on inside when my card didn't come out. So
Right. So now this is where it goes somewhat doesn't make sense. And again, I believe the reason why it doesn't make sense, it's because they don't want to reveal how the scam actually works.
But George will reveal how the scam
No,
works.
I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not.
come on.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But to me, it makes sense how they
Well,
do
just
it.
use your imagination in the comments section.
Yeah, guys. Again, it's not gonna come from me. It's really kindergarten to figure out how the scam actually works, but it's not how it works on the news. Again, I believe they mislead the public intentionally in order for not to make it more rampant, as it were.
pinang card, ang kawatan ng pipindot sa ATM. Ang hindi alam ng biktima, nilagyan na pala ng glue ng suspect ang cash dispenser.
Okay, so according to the news, basically, in a nutshell, the user comes in, inserts their card, punch in their PIN number, and then when they try to get the money out, the money doesn't come out. Okay, that's because the glue lady has used super glue on the cash dispenser. That's what they said. Now remember, this is the part where it kind of, some of you be like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And again, I believe it's so there's no copycats.
You sure that they don't glue the front of it where the card won't come back out?
Well, I did, again, off camera. Me and Heidi had a discussion. I told Heidi how
They're not saying
I
right.
would do it and how it would make sense. And ironically, on the same day that me and Heidi were talking about it, I used the ATM, and my method makes sense. But then again, I'm not gonna reveal how that works. But I'm just translating for you what the news network says.
dumikit at makuha ang perang wini-withdraw. Dito na niya sasabihin sa biktima na pumasok sa loob ng bangko at humingi ng tulong. Ang hindi alam ng biktima, nasa lisihan na siya at natangay na ang kanyang pera.
Okay, so according to the news, and again, remember, at this point doesn't make sense, but some of you will get where I'm getting at. At this point, according to the news, that the one pretending to be a bank employee already has your PIN number and already has taken your money the moment you step inside the bank. Now, that's all they're saying. And again, I'm not going to clarify exactly how the scam works, but again, I'm not going to repeat it because we don't want to. But point being is they use the glue to make you think that the ATM isn't working. And guess what? The moment you walk inside, I'm sure they have like a little knife, or actually even a key will work, that they scratch off the glue and the ATM starts operating again. It's freaking genius in my opinion, but it's still wrong. But to me, it makes sense because I actually analyzed when I used the ATM, and I was like, yeah, that'll definitely work. Um,
How long is that?
well, honestly, at this
Naglabas
point,
na ng pabala-
there's really not much to say. They're just basically saying that they did some straight interviews on certain. No, I know.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Good morning.
They had certain interviews with some Filipinos, and this is what they said. I'm just gonna paraphrase again because honestly, it makes sense. One of them says that I don't use the ATM because there's a lot of scammers at the ATM. Fact.
Mhm.
I don't trust anybody ATM because there's a lot of scammers on the ATM. Fact. And that's basically much the two opinions. And honestly, makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they got all these new skimmers in the US. They've got their like next level now because
Yeah, before they put the
they're
skimmer on top of the ATM, now it's inside the
yeah,
ATM.
now they're actually putting inside. So
Yeah.
yeah, you
Or
just have
gas
to
pump.
be
Right.
careful.
So yeah, they're more
so,
advanced now.
yeah.
Oh, hey, John Childs is with us today. Guys, welcome John Childs. And again,
and I wanted to address, yeah, go ahead and bring him in. I did see some comments in there that says about I'm an American and I'm not offended by the British guy.
there you go.
And then also a few of them went in and they were actually talking and kind of, let's see, I want to find the one. Babe, you can bring him on to
All right.
say hello. I'm just
All right,
looking
everybody,
for.
welcome John Childs. Hey, John.
Hi, good morning.
Hello,
Hi.
Mr. here.
Yeah, loud and
Hi.
clear.
That's actually English humor and Filipino humor. And I think George
Gotcha. Yeah,
did
so
more.
we just wanted to bring you on because I know that there are other channels that in the appearance of other people you've been picked on. He came on and said some things about your wife, and there's a lot of things we don't agree with those other channels for sure that were actually said. So we wanted to get to know you. We do watch your channel, and I believe that you are subscribed to our channel and you've seen our channel before. And I've been to England myself. I was in Knightsbridge, London years ago and knew a bunch of people over there. So I've traveled in the area of being in England and everything. Beautiful country. So I have a lot of British friends and everything. But the biggest thing that had come up is that you cover a lot of topics about Americans. And then, like somebody said, if they take offense to it, it's because you hit a nerve because you're telling the truth about a topic, kind of like us. And that, you know, like somebody had said further in here, that people are just super sensitive these days. And I can think of two channels that in my appearance, it seemed like there was a, like, what would be the proper word? I don't want to say a gang up on you, but basically there were two channels at our Philippine journey and Mike's Philippine journey. So, you know, so that's where I am on that one. So I just wanted to, you know, invite you on here.
Well, the history of the two channels, as I think most people know, the first one was the one that is, I think somebody actually, it was an American guy that actually described him as Uncle Fester, I think it was. I didn't know the name. I remember the Addams Family many years ago.
Right. You must be referring to Mike, our Philippine journey, the one that doesn't have the hair. Yeah, he says he shaves his head.
Mike took offense at my, I suppose, tongue-in-cheek sense of humor, which he didn't take too kindly, living in, what do they call it? Ivory Tower.
Ivory Tower, yeah. Yeah.
Referring to a high-rise apartment block, hence a condominium. In his bedroom, okay, he's gone to the trouble of explaining all of that. That's fair enough. And I might jokingly say in return, well, I'm sitting in my dining room, or I'm outside in my garage. But the point was, one thing led to another. I suppose I got my nose out of joint over the reality that somebody had picked on one of my videos and sliced bit by bit by bit what I had said. Now, we all know that if we hear a politician or a political piece on any channel, anywhere in the world, sound bites is all it's about, picking out particular things and then focusing on that. Now, Mike, in his wisdom or non-wisdom, I should say, I'm trying to think what the word is, decided to have a go at my channel. Now, I'm not going to just sit there and let someone do that.
That's understandable.
Other channels would, and there are other channels that have had that problem. Now, I'll give you a most recent one. I had two videos come up from Phil, who is, I think he calls Red Zone Mindanao.
Red Zone Mindanao, what a strange channel.
The difference was with Phil, he's English. He understands my sense of humor. He doesn't have to like me. And yes, he was pissed off with me picking on American. That was his title in his first video he did of me. Fine. I listened to the whole thing. And then the next one, again, he gave a response. And he had the graciousness to accept my apology for picking on the fact that he was there with his sunglasses in a room, which I wasn't aware of until an English guy told me that he had a problem with his eyes. Now, I'm going to pick on a guy that's sitting there like the governor of Texas.
I thought he said he used them as a prop, though. I thought in a recent video he said they were a prop.
I've lived with my disability for 75 years, and I was 63 when a government department in Australia said, Mr. Child, you're entitled to a disability payment for your hearing loss. And I'm going, really? Now, they directed me down to a hearing center, and I was able to get 2 hearing aids a la my tax dollar. And it was the first time in something like 30 years that I actually heard birds outside my house. I was living late at the time, and I was astounded at what suddenly my interpretation of sound was when I finally had these hearing aids. Now, I would be the last person to pick on a disability, and Phil apologized for my misunderstanding, and I appreciated that. And he's since then apologized for his maybe, well, I don't know, he was pissed off, he was angry, and he stood up for those Americans he thought I was having a go at. Now, the only American I can think of immediately is a person that has an interest in a resort just up the road from here. Okay, I don't particularly take to him straight away in terms of, I wouldn't pick him as my friend, but I know his first name and I've done some kinds of dealings with him. Now, there are other Americans that I bumped into who I would call my friends, and I have no problem with that. Now, the mistake I probably made, according to those knockers, is they think I'm having a go at Americans. Now, YouTube suggested to me as one of their pieces that they send to us as so-called creators.
Yeah, our YouTube manager said the same. Yes.
If you focus on the people who are your main viewing public, then
Correct.
if you use words like America, American, or let's get away from American at the moment. If they were Australian, say it was 38% Australian watch my channel, that's YouTube suggests if I use the word Australian, it will get attention from Australians. Now, I have used for probably 6 or 8, maybe longer than that, 8 months maybe. I've used the word as an opening on my title, Americans departing the Philippines. Whoa, 59,000 views. Couldn't believe it. A couple of months ago, I walked through the background area of my barangay and I said to people, just remember, it was to be kind to Filipinos. They, after all, have done nothing wrong. Instantly, within, I think, 2 days, 12,000 views, unheard of on my channel. Now, why do I use the word American? Well, it's called title or clickbait. That's all it is. Now, if I want to complain about Mike, and I do call him Mikey, because it's just the way it's written in my language, right? Now, I realize it's a bit like John is spelled Jon sometimes. John is spelled Johnny. Sometimes it's just John. But, okay, I'm taking the mickey out of him, and I maybe shouldn't do that to him. And I might make comments like, well, he says that he swims and does videos swimming. I might suggest, well, maybe don't smile when you're swimming. You might drown. Now, that's my sense of humor. Now, it's not meant to be rude. It's just my English, Australian, as I've lived there nearly 30 years, my sense of humor. Now, I have watched your channel. I believe I'm subscribed to the black bell, which means I get all your stuff. It doesn't mean I watch everyone. There are friends who are English who say, oh, John, don't watch that channel. You know, they're this, that, and the other. And that's their opinion. Like you say, it's your opinion. It's my opinion.
Right. We're not always going to agree on every single thing, but
the guy
be decent is the big thing.
The one in the ivory towers.
Yes.
Who is who many people describe as Uncle Chester or Jester or something like that anyway. I'm Mr. Pungus.
Yes.
All my locals jokingly call me Blob Blob or Mr. Pungus, and I jokingly go along with it. I don't like being called, hey Joe, but I've been here 8 years plus. And I know that it's an American expression that Filipinos have adopted to foreigners. They will refer to us foreigners as Americano, hey Joe, and I jokingly have replied, hello Sally, how are you? And then they look at you strangely. I said, my name is John. Oh, hello John. And I will, when I know their name, even at 75, I can remember most of the people in my barangay that I know by name. Now, I have regular visits here to the house by Americans, young Americans. what would we call, I think they call it Generation Z. They're born around 2000. That's my understanding. They're white shirts, black trousers, often a tie, maybe walking, sometimes on a bicycle. I think you know who I mean. They're from Utah, and they're really funny guys. Nice, wholesome, good guys. And one of them has ginger hair, and I call it, because they like to be called, I think they call themselves elder, whatever the name is. And I call her, hello, Ginger, how you going? Come on in. Do you want a Coke? And they sit down, oh, I want water. Again, we have an hour. We never talk about the church they're in, because I'm not an atheist, but I see anybody from Mormons to Seventh-day Adventists, whatever. We call them in Australia God brotherers. It's not meant as a rude comment. It's a vernacular for somebody who's pushing religion. And it doesn't mean we're being rude to them, and they don't take offense at it when they come there. Now, I have said I was adopted. You go back through my videos, if you want to find out about my thing, I think I did too, about being adopted. I'm proud that I'm adopted. I was adopted by an American lady who was married to an English guy. And we lived a very privileged and very rich lifestyle, living in a country town called, village, called Sonning-on-Thames, on the lock. And I watched the boats go up and down through the lock gates. Literally, we were on the island that the lock was connected to the mainland. I went to a Nobby school, Reading Bluecoat School, up the hill. And that's my background. Now, my mother was born in Portland, Oregon. Now, you can argue we're not blood related, but she's my mum. You know, I was there till the last breath, sitting in a rest home somewhere in Gloucestershire, I believe it was. I was there till the last moment. I sat there with the undertaker from the council at the local cemetery in Henley-on-Thames, where my adopted sister rushed off with some unknown member of my distant mother's ex-husband, had come to collect all the money up that had been left to her. Now, to suggest that my mama somehow didn't love me, I think that's a bit below the belt. But when you get people who are comments that put that on there, and I think I don't need to tell you who they were. They know who they were, and they know they're the ones that are doing it. Yes, they will jig my stick. They will get me on the hook, and I will defend my mother, even though she's dead. And
well, also, I want to say real quick, John, that's the problem is most people don't watch the entire videos. They go by a thumbnail or they go by rumors of other channels without facts.
With Mike came on. Mike. I explained to my partner, Jane, my wife, what was being said. And she got upset. Naturally, she's okay.
I've seen that video. Yes,
I didn't understand that. Hey, man, who the hell are you talking about? And she came on, and to be described as a yaka Filipino, again, if you want to make Mike out as a reasonable, level-headed guy, then try not to diminish the value of everybody who comes on the channel. I love Jane, and I believe Jane loves me. So therefore, when someone says something nasty or snidey about them, I will defend them. Now, when I came on, whether you play it back or not, I'm listening to Mike, talking about women who work in bars. In other words, the innuendo is that anybody working in a bar who's female is somehow a lowlife. They're a prostitute. Is a prostitute a lowlife? I don't think so. They do it because they have to do it to feed themselves, don't they, George? They don't do it. They don't go and work in Angeles City or Cebu or
Well, they
wherever.
have to do it. It's a survival mode.
Right.
Dad,
Compassion. So you definitely have compassion.
I'm in Angeles City and I'm whoring myself for a living. The money I'm sending back to the family. They don't do that. So they keep that part of their life separate. So when that came into there, and an American expression, a hoe, as is, I believe he used a 314 or a 304, which apparently is a police term for a whore or a prostitute. I take offense, naturally. Now, do I get back on his channel and try and defend? There's no point. It's absolutely pointless. But when he's describing, in effect, my wife, suggesting by innuendo, whether I got it wrong because of my hearing, suggesting that my woman is a hoe, I said, oh, Mike, here's my hoe, my hoe, my hoe, my hoe, my hoe, comes on all of his things. Big mistake I made in introducing my wife as the hoe. I wasn't introducing him. Jane
So it wasn't intentional. That I understood. Yes.
Back to sound bites. They work a wonder. Now I use a very basic tool, Natavi or whatever, Navavi or something. I probably could do that myself if I was to do something like that, but I don't bother. Now back to the whole point of what upsets people. Sorry to bore everybody, but the reality is I don't hate Americans, and it doesn't matter whether I'm saying it now or otherwise. You know, if I had the inclination, I'd invite 100 Americans here, and I would probably stand at the gate. Are you a good one? If he laughed, he'd come in. Are you a good one? And he said, well, I don't like it. Sorry, mate. Next one, please. I would pick the ones I want to mix. If George turned up at my door, he's a Filipino. That's how I see him. He might be speaking with an American accent. And you, Heidi, obviously are American, or maybe you're Canadian. I don't know. Because for us, you all sound the same. And Philip, I'm not sure where he's living. The guy I call the hippie with the long hair. I've seen him on the channel. He's Canadian.
Oh,
so
dude.
Him calling him an American.
Yeah.
And likewise, I have a sense of humor. If it doesn't come across in my videos, I'm sorry. And just like Phil, the English guy, said, we often say things that we mean that people don't understand. One of my videos was talking about humor and how in the north of England, that's where the really good English comedians put their hard work in, up north in the working man's clubs. When they came down to the south, of course, the upper crust people down in the south, like my mother, who loved being a snob, by the way, living in England, she loved it. But my mother used to say, Johnny, hey, look out there, there's a shag. And I'm going, as a young boy in England, why is my mother talking about someone having sex out the window?
A shag,
now, she saw a cormorant and she put it there. When she talked about Elvis, she used to talk about him, that guy's got spunk. Now, in English, that means semen.
Right.
And I was a young boy. American.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. We both speak English, but you have a bastardized version of English, as according to so many English people. And we have to remember when people make stupid statements, America won the Second World War. No, not quite right. America hasn't really, in my memory, hasn't won any wars yet. But as an ally, you contributed greatly in lives, just like the Russians did. But we were all allies against the Germans. And if I spoke German, like my dear friend Ian, expat in the Philippines, who speaks fluent German because he was in the forces in Germany. And I admire the fact that he can converse in German. Now, if I could speak German, would you understand me? I'd be talking like this with a German accent, trying to speak English. But again, we're all the same. We're all in the same melting pot. I just
Right.
think both Mike in Ivory Tower, that's so we know who we're talking about, he has some really good content. Directed, yes, at Americans coming here because, hello, he's American. Many of the things I say, if I talked with an American accent from wherever I come from, everybody would listen to me. If I didn't call
Well,
myself
unless you're American female.
Hey, John, Ruby has this question for you. Again, I
and,
understand you speak a lot about Australia, but also your
and
title says British expat.
So you were born in the UK? Was you? I think people are wondering. So was you born in the UK
I
and
was
then you lived in Australia for years?
born in Paddington. Like a sucker at 17, I fell in love with a girl and I followed her all the way out to New Zealand. Why? Because I made life hell for my American mother, who paid then me to have a return ticket to New Zealand. And guess what? She did the best thing possible. When I got to to New Zealand, I went to validate my return ticket because I didn't know how long I was going to stay in New Zealand. I was just following the love of my life at the time. But she very carefully and planned it. She cancelled the other half of my ticket. So I was
Oh, dang.
in New Zealand. But she did the best possible thing for me. I stayed there for many years and
Hard lesson.
I met a Kiwi and we went to Australia. Sadly, that Kiwi killed herself. That's another story.
Aw.
I was
So,
then I was then with a small child who I was not related to. I had to try and find somebody, a relative who would look after him. His mother had just committed suicide. Now, the thing is that that was the start of my life. As an adult, I then was around 21 years old. I then went to Australia. That's where I met my first wife. And the story begins. And I
right.
was there for a total of maybe 30 years in all, on and off. And that's why I have an Australian pension. That's why I
Okay,
have
so you
also.
do have an Australian pension.
Yeah, because
And
Ruby's from Australia.
and
Yeah.
Ted wants to know is do you have to keep returning to Australia to keep your pension going?
Yeah, and for me, I'm probably more Australian in outlook than I am English because I was only a teenager when I came to New Zealand. I love New Zealand. My heart is there. Kia ora to all of the Kiwis out there. It is my Hawaii connection. For me, the Philippines is my second one. And I love the Philippines and I love my volcano I live with and I love the way Filipinos are. But I try and explain to people, again, maybe unwisely using the word American, but I don't think so because there are a lot of Americans that I bump into, send me email that realize that they maybe don't have all the answers. I certainly don't put myself up as having them all, but I know that after 8 years, and I've seen relationships break down here between foreigners, and a lot of them are American. I'm trying to make sure that they are sure that this is where they want to come because it's a big thing for anybody, whether you're American or Australian or anybody, to sell your car, to sell your house, to cut your ties maybe with your children and to go to another country 10,000 miles away and start again with all of the things that can happen. You know, sure, there's Filipinos that will milk you, Mr. ATM. It's common knowledge. But hopefully, out of 10 of the women that they find, they will find the love of their life. And as most Americans, most Australians have done, they've succeeded. They built beautiful homes. They're having lovely environment to live in, and they're happy with their wife. Do they live with a volcano? I think they do. But they're also man enough to comment on my channel. You've hit it on
Right.
the
So,
nail.
hey,
You've
John, so you would actually say, like I was saying earlier, that most people don't get the whole gist of like the video. Like they just catch on to a few words, they get like butt hurt and sore all of a sudden. And so they're using more of their feelings when they make their comments and understand what's really going on. So it's kind of like us. I'll say something like, if I meant that direct and I'm really wanting to do attack, I'm just going to attack. So it's just, it's just where I'm actually at on that, which will bring us around to also later we're going to cover the regular guy, because there's a difference in intentionally saying something like what we're going to cover later about regular guy than the things of you just mentioning Americans. It's not a real attack on Americans. You have no problems directly, which actually clears up a lot. And I didn't. There's nothing that I actually took personal. It's just, I've been sitting on the side till now, and I wanted for you to come on and actually say that. I want to also let you know that you're probably aware, I don't know if you're reading the comments. Of course, Mike's Philippine journey is here.
squinting at them, and I see that they're not all that good.
Yeah, so MYK is here. So
I mean to interrupt you, but there's one thing I haven't addressed, and that is that I got initially attacked as that I hate veterans. And I couldn't work out how on earth does that happen. I'm saying, and I'll say it again, if I had it in front of me, I'd read it. The Philippines government affords a benefit. They offer the opportunity of those that have served in the military, not just American, any military in the world. They offer them the chance to get an SRRV, which is a permanent residency visa.
correct, yes.
By doing so, there are many who don't take advantage of that. They may be married to a Filipino, they maybe just extend what do they call it, tourist visa. But
correct.
those who take advantage of it, they have the option of paying $1,500 American and about the
as
same
the deposit, yeah.
in terms of the cost of application. And they can obtain that. Again, it's a privilege. When I say privilege, it's something the Philippines government is offering to ex-military. Now, we call them in Australia returned servicemen. In America, you call veterans. I'm not attacking veterans. I think they've been treated appallingly around the world, especially those that came back from Vietnam. And that's just a side issue. But please don't think I'm picking on them when I highlight, hey man, you can take advantage of that. And that is a privilege. Take advantage of it if you want. But you don't have to. Like I said, many haven't. But to suggest that somehow I'm picking on veterans is absolute puñata. I think George knows what I mean by that. And I will translate it. Bullshit. And it's a bad word here. And that's the whole point. I'm not picking on them. We can say things about Heidi. We can say things about George. But why do we need to do that? Why do people need to say, oh, he likes to hear his voice? No, I like people to understand where I'm coming from. If you don't like it, like I've said to people, if you don't like Heidi and George, beep, change
There
the channel.
it is. Turn it off. We've said that before.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah.
Do know.
So people want to know in the live if you're Australian citizenship or you're just a permanent resident.
Are you a permanent resident or just an Australian citizen?
I've got an Australian passport. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Also, I want to let you know that, and this was not planned. MYK is in the room. I don't know
Mikey,
if you're.
in your words.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you want him to join this?
Not particularly.
Okay, that's fine. We said that. We said we would respect that. So yeah, I'm sure he'd probably come on and say it, but no, it gives you a chance to say your piece and everything, because understand, like we've always said, a lot of people will get butthurt from the things that are said or the titles and all of that. And it's like you got to come in and listen to the whole situation. And there's different where there are things that are like off route. Like I keep bringing up the regular guy because our next topic will be regular guy. He put a title of big breasted Muslim girl, and he actually put her photo. That is something that is just outright rude and wrong because he's been focusing on a lot of women with the cameras. And so they would say it's because I'm a woman is why I'm offended. It's you're in a country where there's a lot of Muslims, and to put her on there and refer to her breast and then put the word you would have to see the video. It was from 9 days ago. And to me, that is an outright offense. You putting American in a title or just talking, you're just talking like us. You're sharing your knowledge. You're just putting things out there. There have been several channels that have referred to our channel in different many ways. We don't get like so offended that it just, we're going to go on some sort of full rant either. It's and I'm not saying anything about specific channels, but there was a channel that tried to compare us to a bunch of people. And what was some of the other things? Just they talk about George.
It's kind of like this.
It's like they're just words, but when you do things like regular guy that we'll discuss here in a little bit, there is some wrongs and rights.
Now, here's the thing. Now,
where you going, puppy?
Be aware. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, and what John said earlier. Again, I'm not taking sides on anybody or anything, but the reality is, like I said, I actually had questions for you, John, but you already answered them before I even asked, and not directly, but I already knew that that's where it led to. And what I'm getting at is, for example, when vloggers say stuff like, "Oh, Filipinos are drunkards and they're cheaters," do I take offense to it? Not really, because one, I'm not one of those. Two, again, that's overgeneralizing. So it's one of those, first off, that's really not the nation's fault. That's whoever's making that statement. Now, the issue arises when it becomes consistently consistent. And
I mean, like regular
be
guy putting
aware
cameras on
that,
women.
again, regardless of what I'm saying is, I get that you are portraying a persona or getting clicks for views and stuff like that.
We understand that.
We understand that. We
Words
get it.
are words and actions
But,
are actions. Like
however,
Mark Thornton punching that guy. That was full actions. Then he put a video on and then he acted on it. So
But-
actions and words are two different things.
Yeah,
for
be
me.
aware that, again, regardless of your true belief is, whatever you put on the show, that you have to be responsible for your show too. Now, I'm not saying you in particular,
No,
anybody.
just vloggers.
So, for example, if I had a channel that call all women as hoes, even though it's just a show, I have to take responsibility that because I say that too often, that I'll take the heat for it. And that's what I was getting at.
Right, but if you were putting cameras on the women's parts and talking about their parts, like some of the guys on Walking Street, or that would be something else. Just mentioning maybe a little TNA every now and then. I get it. It's just part, of some channels and everything. But when you're consistent, like I said,
Right.
actions and
If
words.
you're, and again, I'm not digging at any vlogger in particular.
I will be later. Well, because he actually came into his room and somebody mentioned there were sensitive people out there. He says, yeah, there's a bunch of sensitive people, and I'm sure somebody will say something, but you can't put a Muslim woman on and talk about her breastises and then put it on there, her face and all. And people warned him, you can't disrespect Filipinos here, and especially a specific culture, and then focus in on her and everything. By the way, I'm just going to ask you on a side note, curious for me, what did you think? What did you think about Mark Thornton actually putting his video on and admitting that he punched the guy? What did you think of all of that mess?
Is that the guy who my story or something?
No, Mark Thornton is, every man has a story. He just put his video up and he said that he punched the guy because they were saying things to him. They all stepped outside and he physically punched him.
This is my opinion. I find I've subscribed to his channel. I think I'm still on.
Yeah, we are too.
So over the years that I've been watching him, I've found that he's very condescending the way he interviews people, but that's just his style, right? Now, when I heard, when the YouTube was abuzz with what had happened, I thought my immediate reaction is, what a stupid idiot. Not what a stupid American, what a stupid idiot.
I
Now,
agree.
out of fairness, I watched his latest video, I think it was yesterday, and he's explaining again, apparently he did one earlier on a few years ago about where he came here. I found that very interesting. But
Oh, about his suicide attempt and his whole story about what happened. Yes.
but I think that's maybe what the White House might say is damage control. And I just think that
Right.
the store, the copy store, was right in banning him because no business wants to be associated with bad news. And
Right.
obviously,
No,
lots of foreigners. I won't say Americans because I don't know. I've never been to Dumagetti or what we could describe as Dramagetti. But the
yeah.
thing is, if I was in business, I would discourage the guy from using it as a backdrop. And how he does it from now on is his business. But my feeling is I think he was very silly, just like I was silly introducing Jane as my hoe, as a continuation of the thought pattern in my head that Mike had
I never say
planted.
that when I call you a hoe.
Now, if I just said, and here's my partner, Jane, I doubt very much it would have the same unique attention to my partner, Jane, my partner, Jane. So it makes good sense. But as you
Yeah.
say, answering your question about that, yes,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, I believe that his actions is the problem that I had because I already admitted I probably if it had been the US and somebody would have done that, I'd have probably beat him down in the grocery store. I ain't even lying. But when you're 13,000 miles from home and he's got the pregnant wife, there is always that possibility. We didn't say it was going to happen. We just said it's a very good possibility that he'd
but
get banned, which he did, and then we said that he could still get in trouble, case being filed. He's got a new baby on the way, and it's just really that's where the actions come into us even mentioning the things about Mark Thornton. Now, later we will cover his Beanie Bear collection. Now, maybe that's not like real pertinent to spill the tea Tuesday, but he brought a crap load of Beanie Bears over, almost a whole box of them from the US. But no, it's his actions.
the example that you say, Heidi, is that would I be right in assuming it's a fairly common expression in American culture, and that is that, come on, put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. You'd say, step outside now. I'll show you.
I would say beat the brakes off them would be my response. But yes, we kind of have that. Not everybody. There's a lot of quiet people there too, but for the most part, depending on like what side of town you were raised in, kind of like, in the UK or other countries, that yeah, come on, step outside. And Mark said he knew that when he told him to step outside, his exact words were, he goes, you know what that means. So yes, if you tell somebody to do it, and then there have been photos and videos that have come up where it shows him, he's kind of leaning in the door like, come on outside. Yeah, there's actually going to be a fight. And a lot of guys, when that hormones and testosterone thing kicks in, maybe both at the same time, there's going to be a fight. And I get it because we get heckled and we get a lot of nasty emails. And I know where these people are, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go hunt them down over words or fight with them. If I go in a coffee shop or I arrive somewhere, okay, and there's been several places I've refused to go because I know the people are there, I'm going to walk right out if they're sitting there because I'm not going to take a chance that I might beat the brakes off of somebody and then be deported. And then, my husband, it would take 2-3 months to get him to come, where I'm at, and it would cost us a fortune. So all these things would stay inside of my little turtle brain as this is all going on. But I guess it got down to the nitty gritty. It really did.
Now, you see, a policeman told me in London, you can't use that word, getting down to the nitty-gritty, because it refers to slave ships.
Oh my God. Now see, that's where people get all sensitive, and that's kind of where I draw the line on some stuff when people get like hypersensitive.
Yeah, Heidi and George, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on board. So,
Hey, John, let me ask a question. Do you promote doxing where you tell people to release my information in my chat? Can you answer that? You promoted to tell people to release my information on my channel, didn't you?
Sorry?
You commented in one of my videos saying that someone who is my viewers should release my information to the public. Did you or did you not state that in a comment that you recently erased?
Yes, I think I made a comment to, I think the guy's name is Bruce, and he made the comment to post a picture, a link to my barangay.
Okay, that's them. But still, why would you then promote that?
I don't think you should promote it.
No. Why did you say that people should do that to me?
Sorry, what? Say it again. Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
He said that. I never said a thing. You're the one that commented in my channel that people should release my information to the public. There's a big difference between somebody saying that they should report you to the barangay. That's different. But you then commented saying that you promoted people to dox me in my own channel, which you erased the comment, by the way. And I have a copy of it. So do you admit that
No, you yourself, I think, commented to me that somebody, I think you referred to them as a hater, had released a vision of your house or something like that?
And you, that doesn't matter. That's me saying, but why are you telling, that's actually what I said after you made that comment.
I'm responding to that comment.
No. I made that, you said someone should release Michael's information, who's, his viewers should release his information. And I responded and I said, actually, somebody already did that.
Yes, and I said to the person who was putting it on mine about my information, I replied,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's, well, you're promoting people. Now, here's the thing. You also stated that if you don't like what you see, just move on along, right?
If I don't like what?
If you don't like what is being said, you shouldn't even click it or say anything about it, right?
That's right. Yes.
You promote that. So technically, you commented in my channel, stated that stupid American, which is fine. That particular American was being stupid. Fine. Okay. But here's the thing. And so, no, I'm not offended. But then I then posted your statement in my community page. And then you started commenting nonstop. If you didn't like what was being posted, why are you saying stuff then? If that's what you're promoting. Because you say it, but you don't do it.
Mike, me right here. What is your point that you're trying to make? If you want me to apologize for suggesting, if people want to put my details, why don't you then put his details? If that's offensive, I'm here, hand on heart, no taking the piss. I apologize to you. But I just say,
that's stupidity, because number one is
we don't want necessarily.
Okay,
we don't want anybody necessarily on our.
Well, then why are you promoting it? So would you agree that that was a stupid thing to do? Was that a dumb comment to make?
You're saying don't comment to you.
No, I said, was that a stupid, dumb comment to make then? To promote doxing in YouTube?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, John.
Was that a stupid, dumb comment to make? To suggest that? All of a sudden your mic is not working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't hear you.
Oh my god, I need to put some battery on my hearing aid.
Did he mute himself?
No, I don't know. We can't hear him.
You probably
Can't hear
muted
you,
yourself, John.
We can't hear you, John. Yeah, no, it's not us. See,
Let's break up. It's not me, it's you.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, it says can't unmute your guest. Their mic is not connected. That's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mic got disconnected,
Or
John.
he muted because they can mute themselves on
Yeah,
that
he
end,
muted
Well,
so
himself.
that's why.
it says his mic is disconnected on our end. It actually
Well,
says
no, it says unmuted, unmute mic. Hit it
yeah.
again.
No. That's what I mean. That's the message.
Unmute
says.
me?
Did you
Their
try
mic.
hitting it?
Yes, it gave me the error message. Can't unmute. Their mic is disconnected.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
All of a sudden, for
Yes.
some reason, when it's time to answer questions, something got disconnected. Let's see if he logs back in.
I was having a perfectly good conversation, Mike.
Well, he was about to leave, but I'm just saying is that I was like, look. I mean,
Yes.
listen, look at that. He got confronted with his own words, and he's like, and see, do you see how the lies he said that all of us he goes, I was answering your thing. I was like, no. That was an answer towards what you said.
So
And-
he basically threatened to dox you, or for
No.
somebody to dox you.
He
Sorry, I missed
stated
part.
that Michael's viewers, someone from Michael's viewers, should release his information to the public so people can start seeing. So that's when I responded. And actually, if Bruce downstairs commented on it earlier on today.
Yeah, I think
And
Bruce
so-
is still in the room. Hey, Bruce, come on in.
And that's when I commented back to him and said, actually, somebody who already released that. And my response to people releasing my address was me going ahead and showing them my house. That was my response. So do you see how he manipulates things and try to, play this, I'm British, I'm Australian, just because you have a good accent. And I'm sorry, I wish I had a beautiful English or French English.
Right, I would think
accent.
they would get more attention than the
I
Americans.
would get, because I would get so much tail back in the days if I had that. And so it's funny how that's why I confronted him. I said he said it early on today to you guys, right? He goes, if you don't like what you're hearing, don't click the channel and don't watch it, right? But yet here he is going to that.
Just don't watch. I just sound like
but
a
he's
monster.
doing it. So what is he talking about? He's a freaking hypocrite. And listen, since I already detailed that stuff, let's go ahead and talk about this. He's been complaining the past week about his wife complaining about him not taking care of himself, him looking disheveled. Look at his video yesterday. He's wearing the same exact disheveled shirt. He's been wearing the same shirt for more than 24 hours. No wonder his wife complains that he's not taking care of himself and going to public looking good. We're same shirt. Go ahead and look at it for people who think I'm lying. Go to his channel right now and look. Go to his channel and look at the video that he published yesterday. Same disheveled shirt.
Maybe he does like George. He's like sets his shirts out and he wears the same one on certain days, like George does.
But what you wear it for, different shirt every different day. That's fine. But you're wearing the same exact shirt, and his wife is complaining about it.
Don't you have like a cycle?
No, I have a cycle.
We did go through.
I have a
that,
cycle of
just
shirts.
to add that on the side, because when we went to the mall a couple days ago, I said, "Wait a minute, we're about ready to record again. You're wearing the same short." We literally had a full blown out argument over, and he goes, "But it's that day to wear that shirt." I said, "George, if we record in the same shirt, then they're going to think
Well,
you wear the."
not anymore, because now it's past the 7-day outfit thing. Like actually, Sarah Tyson one point in time, one of our regular viewers said, "Oh, you're going to the bank today because I see you're wearing this particular shirt."
Right, we go to the
But
bank.
now we're past that.
Well, there you go. As long as you don't have a 7-day cycle of underwear.
Yeah, no.
Or
no,
do you,
and
George?
He used to have, like in the US, he had all black Nike shirts. They were like the what do you call that? The sweat-proof one, like the one you have on now. Which, by the way,
dry fit. They're called dry fit.
Here, stand up for a minute. Is there somebody there?
What? Oh, something. Okay.
Hey, John.
Yeah, there you go, John.
John is back.
So-
He had
so
an
answer
audio
that,
issue.
John.
Now,
And
I've come back out of courtesy to Heidi and George,
sure.
and also so that you didn't have to work out what I was saying hand signals. Mikey, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Oh, you did not mean to call me Mikey. So sorry for that one right now. Come on. You're a grown man. You don't have Alzheimer's or dementia. You should be able to remember what to call me. And just admit it's okay. You want to make fun of me by calling me Mikey? It's perfectly fine. You want to do that? You don't have to keep on apologizing that you're making mistakes. That's maybe that's just who you are, but it's perfectly fine.
Right. Okay. See, you jump in within seconds. I was just saying, when I realized I called you Mikey, I said Mike, but of course you jump in anyway. That's, again, like you said, if you want to be like Mike, that's fine. But I'm not going to play the game anymore. I have unsubscribed to you. It doesn't mean I don't watch
It doesn't matter.
And I know you'll say it doesn't matter, but I know everybody's ego matters. And the reality...
it doesn't matter to me. See, that's your thinking. That's your ego, not mine.
Here we go. Self-analysis and everything else. You're very good at it, right? And I don't want to boost you up anymore. But I'm just saying to you, if I offended you by those comments, what I will do, which is best for me and maybe yourself as well, is
don't worry about me. Worry about yourself.
I apologize to you for in any way upsetting or offending you, right? Now, I'm making that here on Heidi and George's channel. And I love your dog, by the way.
Thank you.
It didn't offend me. But what I'm asking was that a stupid and dumb remark to make?
Right, but that's your opinion, okay? I'm not going to get into the debate of it, right?
Okay.
I've apologized.
What about when you called Corinne Philippine Unfiltered? You don't go to her channel. She never made anything about you, any quip about you. Yet you went there. You said, "Are people watching this funny, short, stupid Corinne is taking fun at the situation of how some Filipinas think?"
Corinne?
Yeah, you went to Filipina Unfiltered's channel and you made a comment calling a Filipina who never touched you, who never said anything about you, and you called her short and stupid.
I called her? You're
do you
joking.
Do you want to see the comment?
Yes, come on, show my comment.
Okay, George, Heidi, you guys want to give me a thing that I can actually post it? Or do you want me to send you the thing that you guys can post right now to show him?
Oh yeah, I guess send it.
I'm thinking
probably a bigger screen.
Yeah,
if he sends it.
If
you send it over, it'll be the
Messenger.
bigger screen. Yeah.
Do you want it to Messenger, and then where do you want that at?
And then it goes to the drive.
No, it's habit.
It goes. To
anyway,
Messenger,
guys,
you have to convert it. On
All
your
right,
phone.
send it to Messenger, Mike.
Yeah, and then you can
just send it.
Coming on. I've got no idea what he's talking about with the other one. The other comment of Corinne. I think she's Philippines Unplugged, a lovely 50-year-old plus, I believe. Filipina, she's here in the Philippines, and I have no problem.
Early on today, you said you didn't know who she is. Then now all of a sudden, you know who she is now.
See?
Just saying. Do I have to? It took me to say that there's evidence before you're like, oh, now I remember who she is.
They come. Here they come. Bye-bye, folks. Bye-bye.
Exactly.
Bye, John. Thank you for being with us.
Exactly.
Thank you, George.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye. Somewhere is
when someone is finally faced with the truth and reality and proof and evidence, they run away. They back away.
I know that. It's Mikey.
And it's perfectly fine. You have every right to. But this is, see, the thing though is sometimes people don't understand the truth. I see it. And I'm exposing it to you. And all you kept on trying to deny things. Who's that? Earlier on today with my comments saying you were trying to promote doxing me. You said I didn't say that. I didn't do that. I was responding to what you said when I have proof to show that you were actually, I responded to you. See, that's the biggest problem is sometimes it's like, hey, you're saying it. You cannot say that I'm actually tidbitting everything. It just doesn't work that way.
No. Oh, did John leave?
Yeah, I think
No
John
problem.
John has left the building.
I'm getting that
Yeah.
mic right now.
No problem. I mean, that's
I forgot to
evidence right
convert
there.
it for
Listen,
StreamYard.
you know, I thought of something too, and I'm not here on Mike's side. I'm not here on John's side, but I am going to stick up and say something that is wrong. I don't care what MYK says or does. All right, and if he's getting trash talk, if he's getting you know, people being rude and coming in at him, guess what? The guy has a right to say what he needs to say. Okay. I seen the comments, and I seen it a couple times of you, John, saying that he should be doxxed and his mother should be contacted. That is inappropriate. Okay. I like MYK. I used to like you. I don't like you when you did that. I don't like you. I won't watch you. I think it's horrible. It's people like you are the ones that are ruining for the expats. You're jealous of people that get a little extra money than you. Now, I don't. But I don't like the doxing thing. And I think it's horrible.
I know.
And that's my piece, Heidi. I'm sorry, George, Heidi, and everything. That pissed me off.
Bruce, you sick, bro?
Yeah, I'm sick. Yeah.
You got a little, raspy. You know, man,
Yeah.
drink some water.
Yeah, you look
How much
like
water
you
have you drank, Bruce? How much
Yeah,
water have you
man.
drank so far?
I've been drinking all day today, man.
All right, just want to make sure, man. Well, look at you, bro. You got the beard trim going on right now. Are you
Got
really?
his hair done up.
Sorry about that, Heidi. I didn't realize I was on my thing. I didn't mean to.
Well, I don't. Did they go away? We have Go-Go. Was it Go-Go Bobo?
Yeah, I think Go-Go Bobo.
I think
Go-Go
that might
Bobo
have been. It
sisters
just
in our-
says Go-Go, but there used to be a Go-Go Bobo sister. Mike, it probably sounds familiar to you. I believe I seen that over near the Andy Omar channel. No, he's still there, but his mic is muted. I guess bring
Go-Go
him on so
Bobo's
he can say
sister,
something.
right? Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I've seen him around.
it's
I've
a
seen him
sister,
around. I don't have enough whatever for that stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, there's the footage. We put that up.
No,
Yeah,
see,
our-
it's his mic
so-
is not connected.
Yeah, so that's
your
what I'm saying.
mic is
Look at
not
that.
connected, Go-Go.
Are people watching this funny, short, stupid Corinne is taking fun?
Oh, sound altered. Yes, we can hear you, Go-Go.
Can I just make a comment about my perception?
I would say don't use any voice changing if you're gonna do this. If you're gonna have your video on, have your video on, and have your real voice out.
So I was just going to say, I think that John's passive aggressive, and he's hiding. That's how he hides his intentions, and then Mick's more up front, and that's why he cops all the hate speech. When in reality, what Mick's saying is actually the truth.
Maybe it's kind of an anonymous person, so okay, that's actually
It's a fair comment.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, again to John, be aware that even the room as of right now, be aware not everybody agrees with you or disagree with you. Not everybody agrees with this MYK Mike. Not everybody disagrees with MYK Mike, and so on and so forth. And the room is pretty much like,
And my intention is still true to heart, that I wanted to bring him on so he could talk about why he puts it, because a lot of people have questioned. He's been on a lot of channels, and for him to come in. So that was the pure intention for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to let people know.
It's just better to hear it from your words rather than me speaking for you or Heidi speaking for you and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a hold of regular guy right now. That's if he's even awake.
He's probably one of those afternoon 12 o'clock bars and stuff like that right now.
Probably.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, Mike. You were actually going to say something about the screenshot right here.
Yeah, that's why. Look what I did when I confronted him with it. What did he say? Who's that? You saw in his face like he's trying to say that he didn't say anything or whatever, right? So, and he literally said that, and so when I quoted the whole thing of what he stated, all of us, because he said he doesn't know who that person is. All of a sudden, he starts saying that she's this 50-year-old, and then called her Filipina Unplugged when it was Filipina Unfiltered. He knew who I was talking about. What he didn't know is when I busted out and I said, I have the, you want to see the screenshot? Look what happened. He ran. Because that right there, he knew he was going to get confronted again with receipts. He likes to talk and twist things. Okay. Him, not British people, not Aussie people and stuff like that. Him. And he wants to use that to his good nature. And even the part where the whole thing with the 304 being called on his wife, he's the one that said it. He even perfectly stated that the way they assumed things, the way that they took it, I never said she was one of those. And that's why even in the interview, when his wife came along, I kept on pressing, did I call you one? Did I call you one? And even she could not. Every time I finally was able to talk, she would walk out of the screen. So, that's them. And, that's
Hey,
what
Michael.
What's up?
What is
Oh,
that?
oh yeah, there's another mic. I forgot about that. Dude, you got your son.
Mike is a very common name, unfortunately. Yeah.
No, and let's do this. I do want to move on to the regular guy. We got a room in now, and I do want to. I just sent a request to him. I did find his email. It's attached to his PayPal. In all fairness, he's more than welcome to come on all this. We've discussed the regular guy before. Okay. I have felt he's always been that guy that's kind of like creeped around the Philippines, putting cameras on girls. And I'm like, okay, it's, hey, it's his, like I said, it's his stick. It's what he does. And, but here lately, according to some public opinion, he's getting a little creepier. If you read even his comments, even his own people are saying that he's panning in this past probably 5 to 9, 10 days on women. Like he'll zoom in on them. And the video that I'm going to talk about is you have the George is going to put up a clip. It might, I don't know.
There's no audio on it.
There's no audio. This is his own words. I put the award on there because I'm giving him an award for this.
Yeah, this is his own title for his video. Yes,
but it includes Baby-Roonies. Okay, he put classic film, angry Muslim woman with a great pair of TNA or T. He put, but I blocked that out, and her face. Okay, so he puts a Muslim girl up showing her tatas, and actually the room was just like all engorged with comments. Okay, it's one thing where he's just always talking about the old Baby-Roonies, and he puts on his. Sometimes I feel personally it's a little exaggerated. Sometimes I feel that he's actually rude sometimes. But hey, it's just it is what he does. People feel the same about me. I feel personally that he does do a lot of vlogs. Like he shows the areas here lately he has. And that he has his own thing of storytelling and everything, and he gets around. I feel eventually he's going to get like bed bugs or something because he goes into these $17 hotels. He does tend to do slum tourism. Like some of the areas he goes to are kind of different. So he does like to be in the seedy areas sometimes, but he goes other places of all fairness. But this one was just, I was a little taken back by because it's a Filipina, because of her religion. And then he pins seems to be one of his nemesis that he's friends with. And that would be, we just said, yeah, where's the comment at? Who is the guy that's in Makati? Jasper. So he's like, he went back and forth. That's the comment you're saying. He went back and forth with Jasper. And he says, no, you blocked me. And he says, no, I haven't. He made a reference earlier to somebody being Jasper's girlfriend. And then he said that this girl, referring to the Muslim, would actually eat his girlfriend. And I'm like, the girl is small. I mean, you can see by her arms, just because she's, built the way she is. It was just overall, in my opinion, stepping over the line. And there were people, that's what the comments are. Probably out of the hundreds that he had, only a few people came in. At least 2 said, hey, be careful. You're dealing with an actual Muslim. There's Perez Hilton, Mike. Just thought I'd let you know that he's holding in a standby. And that it's just a whole nother level of, I don't know. It's just really crossing the line. It's really crossing the line to actually mention breast in the title. And then I'm not going to say the other words. We know TNA, the first part of it. I'm just not going to say it. And to refer to that as his titles was stepping over the line. He can be reported. If that Muslim girl finds him or the family finds him, he could be done in. Okay. There's really,
Can I say
think of-
something?
yes,
Yeah.
please.
The one thing I think we do need to consider here is there's different types of Muslims, because some are very liberated and even wear bikinis and don't wear anything on their head.
No, I'm
at all.
aware of the Muslim culture for sure. Yes.
But
So it
she's wearing a,
depends what
she's wearing a
type.
hijab though, so she's more the
Yes.
conservative
Yeah,
one.
she's fully covered her
Ah,
arms and
okay,
everything.
okay.
No, I'm well aware of
wearing a
that.
hijab.
My previous husbands, 2 of them were actually Muslims.
Right.
So I've
Now-
mentioned that before on the channel, but the fact
My
that he would
girlfriend- my
zoom in and
girlfriend's
use
Muslim.
both those titles on a Filipina and a Muslim on top of that, to me was just, and I'm not Muslim. I just found it, where it's kind of like the Mark Thornton fight. He's kind of put himself in a position, and a few people mentioned that. And then he left a bunch of comments where they talked about, well, her family's not going to recognize her anyway. She looks like a mailbox, and just some of the comments that were in there. And he's actually responding on some of these down to, oh, people are going to get sensitive about it. But it was pretty much an oh, well.
Right. And
Definitely
and
good
to
for
be
his
fair,
channel, though. You'll definitely
and-
get more subscribers. Go ahead.
Yes.
No,
I
it's
agree.
definitely about that. That I am sure
Right.
of.
Now, to be fair, again, the issue really is now that he made a statement. He says, "I'm pure Catholic." Now, first off,
He did make that
the
statement.
problem I have with that statement
I don't
is
bother people; they bother me, is what he
right
said
now.
after that.
There's
statement.
no such thing as pure Catholic because Catholicism nor Muslim is neither breed. So therefore, there's no 100%.
Yeah,
There's no 60%. There's no 50%. It's a religion now, which means again, now I'm Roman Catholic, just so you guys know. Now, see, that's the proper distinction. When he meant pure Catholic, I believe he meant he's Roman Catholic. And the reason why I'm making that statement is because, again,
hey, look, Uncle Mike, a dog.
Yeah, we can make caldereta out of that dog in a few
oh
months.
dang, yeah, he's really tender right now. We're just waiting for him to make
Veal. It's like
faux
veal.
gras, faux gras. Right. So,
Do you have a tiny cage for him to lock him up?
no, he's free. He's a good
No.
boy. He's a good boy. Right.
No,
I'm just
he's
joking. I'm just joking.
Right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So yeah, there's no such thing as pure Catholic. Again, it's not
But
really.
what does Catholic have to do with, or what he
Thank you.
mentioned,
I was
have
getting
anything
getting
to
to
do
that.
with
Right. It has nothing to do
people bothering
with
him?
anybody mentioning your religion unless it actually correlates to the subject. For instance, like if you talking about, oh, I'm right here by this, for example, this masjid or mosque, or then he would say I would go inside, but it's against my religion. I'm Catholic. Then it kind of makes sense. Now, if you're talking about certain things, I don't see why you would place the religion in play, if that makes any sense. You don't play a religion card or a race card or any kind of skin card
He didn't
randomly.
have to throw that.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
and it might have just, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would have just seen it as a Filipina first and a woman, and then I would have seen it as in her religion where they are trying to be concealed. By the way, the reason the woman was angry, and you guys didn't get to see that, and he did refer to her as being angry Muslim, is because a vehicle almost hit her, a trike that was going by. So she was PO'd, and so would I. I probably kicked it over like King Kong. I ain't even lying.
So the woman was
Muslim or
mad.
not in there, I wouldn't
she
have
was
cared
mad?
about religion, huh?
She was mad. Because I never saw the
Yeah,
video.
so that's what he called her, was an angry, big-breasted, angry Muslim, I believe was
Got
his
it.
title.
Well-
So he put it in the title too.
Heidi, this isn't the first
Are you
time
laughing
we-
at me talking about kicking it over like King Kong?
No, it's funny because I know Scott. His sense of humor makes me chuckle. It's very lighthearted. This stuff.
The thing that you have to look into
Like I
is
said,
that
we like him for the most part, but just some things are going to
He's
come under
creepy
our
at times,
radar. I
huh?
mean, it's just Yeah.
Well, is he you know, because let's step back and look at the just a couple of things that people will say as content creators at times, like, is it entertainment? Is he doing this for his viewers because that's what gets
Right. And
the
that's
the
what I was telling him.
response?
Yeah.
Is
Mhm.
it is he doing this because maybe I'm sure, I am for sure, because like, like for example, yesterday somebody decided to go into my live in the comment section, and here he is making fun of these guys that are getting scammed left and right. Then I go, wait a minute. So I busted out a photo of a comment that he made where he's asking Gelai to wear a nurse's outfit next time because she'll get 20 to 50,000 views. And so the thing though is that there are commenters who's asking for this, and he's just giving them what they actually want. The big problem here,
Yeah, that's
uh, we do see that sometimes, and we're in regards for people that be like, they feel that Muslim people are violent people, and so they're angry, or you even see that among the Jewish community as well. It just goes back
right.
and
Or the
forth depending what
Christian
it
or
is.
most,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Um,
has the capabilities, yes.
but what he has a problem that could happen. I'm not saying, Philippines, even though it's a small country, is still huge and overpopulated. Maybe nobody will notice it or see it, but
Or
coming from
report it.
coming from me knowing a lot of people who are of the Muslim faith,
Mhm.
it's not about her being a woman, it's not about being whatever, it's the fact that you're even videotaping this woman. That's why they're in a way wearing a hijab to cover, to conceal as much, and for you to you don't mess with the
Hey, good
Muslim
morning,
people.
Geechee. Geechee Lyons in the house.
Yeah. Hey, Gigi. You don't that's one thing that you don't do. You see Christians and Catholics will make fun about their priests, about their pastors, will make fun about their religion. Christians will do that. And other people will make fun of Christians and Catholics. They won't do, they'll do that and nothing really will happen. Not unless you're in Ireland or something. But
No, this is true. Yeah.
Muslims, on the other hand, is a whole different thing. They can't
Yeah.
even say bad things about themselves, and especially if you are not of that faith.
Right.
And
And what about the laws that pertain, Mike? That's where some of them laws come in. As
what
far
laws?
as lately, he's really been focused in on, like, some of his thumbnails have actually introduced, like this latest shows him $20 and puts two ladies on each side of it. He's really, and I get it's for content, I get it, but at some point, the Philippines is just going to have enough of the excessive vloggers, the way they're treating the people.
Can I say something regarding exactly the point you're making? Because I think this really applies to it. Now, I'm not surrogating. I'm not saying this is the entire Philippines or anything like that. I'm not. But I've been seeing millions of Philippine channels popping up with derogative titles, sexually explicit,
That's true. There's
targeted at foreigners. So we need to look at it from both ways.
No, we know that there's a lot of them. The reason Regular Guy is coming into our focus and we're well aware of it is because he's in that circle of vloggers that are being watched by a bunch of our viewers. So he comes into the actual, I'm not going to hunt down them all. I get that point of it. He's one of the guys that our people watch, and it's somebody that I watch on a daily basis. So more and more it's become more progressive, but specifically you don't see this part every day. So that's why I'm actually covering this today. So I
Yeah.
understand that there's most definitely a bunch.
Well, regarding the
that are
Muslim
actually-
thing, it's more so if her brother was to see, it'd be quite dangerous for Scott. That's the more thing I would be concerned about.
Right. Yeah, that's something we said a minute ago. There's a good chance that it could still happen. But yes, that's very well a possibility if it's recognized. Yes.
This isn't the first time that he's talked about Muslim people. Like, again, like I said earlier about things, you got good and bad in doesn't matter what it is. It don't matter what expat it is. Don't matter if it's America, Australia, whatever. You can't lump everybody in. You've got your good, you've got your bad people. All right. Unfortunately, if as big as he is, yeah, I get it. He doesn't like certain things. That's fine, but he does not, think. All right, you got to think about stuff because an older gentleman. I don't know if you've seen Heidi or George or MYK. He had one that a guy told him that he couldn't go down the street. It was dangerous, and it's like he just started flipping out like his lid about these people. And I guess it bothers me is you're doing this to a woman. Okay, the men and all that other stuff, they can handle themselves, they can talk whatever they want to do, but the recording of the woman like that was just disrespectful. And you know what, you shouldn't talk about people's religion. I mean, even if you don't agree with it, like grow up and stop putting down stuff. Like it's ridiculous. I'm not saying I don't like the guy. I don't like his creepy ways with Babe Rooney stuff, but that's me.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's not. I mean, like I said, I know it's like part of his.
Well, yeah, Scotty, we don't have anything against you. It's just certain things that, again, even my best friends we have disagreements with.
Well, it's like Mark Thornton. We really do not dislike Mark Thornton.
If that makes any sense.
Just his actions could get him in big trouble. It's more
I dislike Mark Thornton, and let me tell you why. Because he, in your face, took money from people to invest, which is fraud. Right there in your face. I dislike him. I think he uses the fact that he's a little bit slow. He uses his image to get away with a lot of things.
I agree.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't agree with everything that he does.
Right. We don't agree with everything he does either, of course. Yeah. Obviously, because
and if you actually saw the money that they've actually brought in due to little stunts like that, well, it's not stunts, actually fraud, you'd be shocked. Because that's where the most money comes in.
So let me ask you, because I mean, I don't know Mark Thornton. I don't like his actions, and he's not a friend of mine. But what did he actually do? Like, he took from just general Philippine people, or what?
No, other foreigners. For a year, he ran a campaign where he was trying to get people to invest in his boat.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Cruise ship.
Okay, Heidi and George, I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, that would be another action. Like I said, we don't. Yeah, actions can
Sorry,
get him in trouble.
Yeah. I totally spaced out and forgot.
Yeah, that's just one example. Most of them do it, and there's one guy that I'm a bit hesitant to mention here because some of the people are friends with him. But he's a prominent vlogger in Dumaguete, and he pulled in 100,000 USD at the expense of mocking someone that didn't have much money that had to leave the country. Now, I know those numbers. Most people don't know. Right?
We're aware of the
that
numbers.
That poor guy got a few thousand pesos and maybe a rental condo for a bit. And then the blogger comes out with a new car and all the rest of the money's gone hidden.
No, you know what? I'm not even going to be shy to actually say who that is. You're referring to Mark Thornton's friend. So, no, we're aware of the money for sure that he made on that exposure of the one expat. So, yes.
Serious
Most
money.
people don't realize that certain channels, that they actually, per their actual views, can make 20, 30 bucks per 1,000, and he got millions of views on that expat. So,
and he was being harassed with donations behind the scene that people just wanted to give more and more money to him. It was a gold mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a lot of info on that one.
Yeah, that was Yep.
Yeah, Mike and his blue screen.
Let me.
But I'll just close it. I'll close it with this, and then we can change. It's the amount of money that the viewers don't understand. Like, we're talking over 100,000 USD. at the exploit of someone else. When the viewers watch, they think, oh, they helped that guy, maybe they made $800 at most. No.
Be right back.
We're talking over 100,000 USD.
Yes, it was actually probably more than that. So, in talking to our YouTube manager, it was probably way more than that. Plus, he took in PayPal money and a bunch of other things. And if you look at that channel going way back, it seems like he'd come from modest, situation, but it wasn't but a few months ago, or not a few months ago, but a few years ago, that his channel was at a certain number. And he used to use the spouse and their friends and then a bunch of her friends to actually grow the channel, and they went into the interviews and then went into there was a lot of money made. No, a lot of people don't realize at a certain level you actually start to really rake in the money as a Filipina vlogger and as a
And
the ones that actually
you know what these guys do, right? These expats that start their YouTube channels. This is why I like someone like Mick's channel, right? He's straight out there, puts the link in, puts the merch in, you know what's going on. These other vloggers, they put their wife on there and they slowly develop a rapport, a relationship with their subscribers. And they don't ask for anything. And then later on they say, oh, my wife hasn't been feeling so well. Oh, I need to renovate this or that. These people, the expats that start their YouTube channels, are for bad reasons, but they do it very slowly and very quietly. You know what I mean? It goes under the radar, and that's how they get their money out of the other people online.
I've been saying that the whole time, but people
It's sad.
will definitely watch.
That's really sad.
What do you think, Mike?
It's like using YouTube to build people up. These YouTube channels are like using the YouTube to build people up and take people's money, and then people don't even get the money. And then some YouTube channels, actually put people down. I think that's really strange. Like some bring people up, some are built to put people down.
Yep. Can I just say something? Can I mention a prominent vlogger here or not? I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say on this channel. Can I mention a popular vlogger or not?
Go ahead, Jojo.
You go ahead.
Go ahead, go.
Is that okay?
Mushroom guys, go, guys.
Everyone remembers Ricky, Life Beyond the Sea?
Oh, yeah.
That got completely exposed. He funded money for medical purposes. He's done this on 2 occasions. And what happened is they were skimming 80% of the money from the donations. And he had a fight with another vlogger that I knew. And that vlogger put out everything. And we saw the whole argument was that Ricky was fighting with him for a bigger cut of the donations coming in. He was fully exposed. That is where the bulk of their money was coming in.
Wow. That's insane. 80%.
We've been saying, and not saying we knew all of that, but we've been saying this is going on almost to a point where it's become somewhat frustrating for such a channel as ours. Okay, that when you keep it honest, that it's not going to pay. We're not going to run those type of deals and everything. But I had heard something about that. I just without all the facts.
Well, the guy who released all that has passed away of cancer, so he's no longer alive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he did release that, and he exposed himself too, because he was also taking the cut. But he was so angry that he was willing to expose himself as well as Ricky.
Wow.
Yeah, the only thing I ever knew about Ricky was alleged those courses he used to put out, a bunch of those other things that he used to do, but
Bachelor course.
What's that?
The bachelor course.
Bachelor course. Yeah, George.
Well, that's probably not as illegal as, that's quite funny to listen to, but I think this is pretty much against the law of what was going on here. Because you're talking, once again, you're talking big money.
Even the bachelor course was actually is considered legal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
a lot of
bachelor
them
class, they
aren't
pick up
above
little
board
kids.
as far as where they're paying taxes, how they're paying taxes, or they're avoiding them
Mhm.
all together.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and see, here, I have to say this. Even though with Bobo Gogo's voice changer, he's, you know, you could tell, I don't know, maybe he has a British accent or something like that. Even with the voice changer, I wish I had a damn British accent.
Right.
I'm like, listen, I was like, damn it, I'm paying attention.
You've probably been living your whole life wishing that you were something that you're not.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You created a. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that
It's the guy off the Phillies.
Yeah, that
Mike.
Perez Hilton is the one who admitted that he was a loser, that he has a child that is impoverished. He's also admitted the fact that he had a child.
I could tell by his
He
accent
abandoned
that
a
he was on
child for a
Phillies.
whole year, then wants to come back and wants the woman to make the child love him.
Mike,
Oh my God.
how many months does it take to have a child, like to grow a child in a baby's in a woman's stomach? How many months does that take?
I don't know. You tell us. I don't have to educate people.
Well, you're a nurse. I guess it takes 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I left for a year, 9 months was during the growth of the baby inside the womb, and then you got me for 3 months. Listen, put the picture back up. Show us what a 50-year-old looks like making fun of a veteran. A veteran that fought for our country. You're gonna make fun of a veteran like that?
No.
Hey, I signed online right now because I wanted to talk real quick. Thank you for the floor. I just have one quick thing to say. Mike, do you think that it actually makes sense for you to delete our video and then make other videos on top of that? Do you think that actually makes sense? People can see right through you. Yeah, you deleted the live
video.
You deleted the live.
No, it's still there. People can still watch it.
He's got the live up still, man.
Yeah, the live is up
There to
still.
Show yourself or what?
Stay on the panel when you're done with Mick, because I
lie.
need to talk to you.
Oh, go ahead, go.
Are you there? It's John, isn't it? Expat John, is that right?
Yes.
I've been watching you on some other channels about 6 months ago. You just sort of popped up out of nowhere. And I put it to you that everything you're saying is not the truth. I'm wondering whether you even have kids, actually.
I do. Do you want to see a picture?
No, pictures wouldn't be enough evidence.
Okay.
I'm more interested in the fact that you think ice creams cost $5 in the Philippines. You think cans of Coke cost $5 in the Philippines. Let's start there.
I believe Mike actually agreed. I believe Mike actually agreed the ice cream costs are actually rather high in the Philippines.
And a can of Coke, $5? Is that right? Does he agree with that?
I don't remember ever saying that.
Philly in the Philippines.
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
The guy that hides behind the camera that doesn't show himself is crying about, stuff. The guy that came up on your channel disrespected you, angry at the world, and he wants to hide and talk shit to people.
I was actually disrespected first.
You're chicken.
I was disrespected first. I'm not chicken shit. That's why I'm here.
Well, how are you disrespected? Because you...
Mike, the Perez Hiltons of the... Let me answer it. Mike, the Perez Hilton of the Philippines bloggers came on somebody else's channel where I was, and he put his 2 cents in talking about my daughter, and I got a problem with it. Now you're upset at me for defending my daughter?
I don't even think you have a daughter. I don't think it's your daughter. I think
I do have a daughter. I do have a daughter.
That you abandoned. That you abandoned.
Here's the suitcase, you guys, for my trip to the Philippines. I don't have a daughter. Ready?
Yes or no? I don't care about your pictures, man.
I don't have a daughter. I don't have a daughter. I'm in USA right now, brother. I don't need to be in USA.
Philippines, yes or no?
What's that?
Are you in America or the Philippines right now?
I'm in America.
Okay, so you're not.
I'm in America.
You're not with your daughter. And
I don't need to be with my daughter. But if somebody puts my daughter down, I'm going to defend her. I don't need to be with my daughter. Ooh, I'm not with her.
Hang on. Slow down, everyone. Expat John, you're the one that keeps bringing up your daughter to gain sympathy. I know the game that you're playing. You keep throwing her out there. Yep, so you can turn it and make it look like you're the innocent one. You can't put it past me.
I'm not innocent.
It's hilarious.
I'm actually very raw, and I'm sorry that you can't take me for my word. Listen,
Oh
Mike,
baby, I like you raw. Oh,
Mike,
baby, I like you raw. Shimmy,
Mike
shimmy, yo,
has
shimmy,
a
yeah. Hold on.
YouTube channel, and he puts Filipinos down. Mike
Wait,
has a
I'm
YouTube channel,
Filipino
and he
though.
puts.
Remember, like
That doesn't
talaga?
matter.
Is that's
It
all you
doesn't
know? Is
matter.
talaga? Talaga?
It doesn't
That's all you
matter.
know? Talaga? Really?
It doesn't
Talaga?
matter.
Talaga? Really? So here's
Okay,
the thing.
Mike, you're smarter than me. You're so much better than me. But the fact
but
is, I'm gonna tell
I'm
you
smarter
yet
than you now.
again, Mike.
Didn't you
Hello?
say the other day that you're
Hello?
smarter than me, you're better than me, that
Whatever
you're
you want,
CEO,
dude. Whatever you want.
you're a
It's all good,
successful
dude.
person.
It's all good,
I'm
dude.
not successful. I
Mike,
don't know
it's
anything
all good.
about business. But
Mike,
in
it's
the
all good.
end,
Listen, though.
in the end, no, I'm not going to listen. In
In the end, you're a mean person.
you admitted
You're
that you
a
were a
mean person.
loser. You admitted
Okay.
that you were a loser.
You're okay, Mike. Whatever you
If
say,
you
dude.
are a
But
success,
listen,
if you
you're
say
almost 50
that
years
you're a
old.
successful
Everybody can
businessman,
see that you're almost 50.
No, the other day you said I look 38, and I already told you.
But
I
you
was
are
40.
almost 50.
Doesn't matter. You, sir, if you had any
He
decency
is
and
actually
you
mean.
said you were successful, you would be in the Philippines with your child. But
And,
you're not. You're there. What last
I just showed
September?
you I just showed you my luggage. What else you need?
It doesn't matter. What?
Yes,
You
it
know
does.
what?
It does matter.
I'm
Everybody
sorry.
has a
Would you
story.
hold
Every
on?
man has
Hold
a
on.
story, brother.
You wanna see my luggage? I have a
Every
luggage
man
there
has a
also.
story, brother.
How does that even count? I
Mike,
have a luggage in my closet. Ooh,
it's all
yo,
good, man.
You want
Every
to see
man
my
has a story.
luggage?
But listen, can I just put my point across? Because I wanted to
No,
cause some
the thing
antics
is,
real quick. Yes, I want to.
but aren't
Mike,
you?
stop.
Aren't
Let me
you?
talk,
What
Mike.
sort of, let me say something here. What
Let me
sort of
talk.
a guy enters YouTube and for his first appearance, because I saw you 6 months ago, you talk about your daughter and put her at the front and center of everything. What kind of a guy even does that to
That
begin
didn't
with? So
happen
that's
at all.
odd right
That
there.
didn't happen. I
That's
didn't
just
put my
fucking
daughter at the front
crazy.
and center. Are you serious? I put my daughter at the front and center. Everybody was asking questions and I answered. Mister, I hide my voice.
That's got
Mister, I
nothing to do
put
with
a Perez
anything.
Hilton
So
What you're
easy.
doing
That's why
is
all you
crazy.
guys are on YouTube automatically assuming things all the time, just automatically assuming things. Mike, I want to have a conversation with you without you cutting me off.
Okay, I'll agree, but no ad hominems.
Okay.
Based on logic, because you were never logical. The other side, logical, bullet point.
I disagree, but okay.
Evidence-based. Logical,
disagree, but
bullet
okay.
point, and I will butt in every time that you put an ad hominem in. Agreed?
Okay.
Okay.
Why are you so mean towards Filipino people?
Give me logical reasons how I'm mean to them.
Well, I mean, I was talking about my daughter randomly, and then you just came in there and made up a bunch of assumptions.
Just because
Putting
your
a
daughter
bunch
is
of-
Filipino,
Hello?
that doesn't mean
Hello?
I'm mean to Filipinos.
Hello? Made a bunch of assumptions and putting people down. And yeah, you guys can say, oh, he's crying because Mike's mean. I'm just making sure you know, Mike, you are a mean person. You're the Perez Hilton of the Philippines.
Ad
bloggers.
hominems once again. Let's go ahead and
What?
try this again.
Ad
Try
hominem?
it.
What? Because I compared you to
Would
somebody
you?
that's an
Would
ad
you?
hominem?
Would you? Yes. Would you
Do
want
you
me to
know
give you
what
the?
that sounds like? That sounds like a male nurse
Would
talking.
you want me to give you the
Don't
big
talk.
definitions in regards for the hierarchy? Because the thing though is
Dude,
with
you're
a
sitting
hierarchy
here
of
calling me a
argument.
loser.
The
You're
thing
sitting
though
here
is,
saying all these things.
Number one, I'm not mean against Filipinos. I could be mean and had said mean things about you and your daughter and how you act. Of course, but just because I say something about a particular person, you can't then all of a sudden
Automatically
say
assuming they're going to be on the poll. Automatically assuming a Filipina is going to be on the poll. Dude, that's really fucked up that you would even say shit like that.
Nah. Who gets onto a public panel and the first thing they want to talk about is their daughter? You're a fucking freak.
That didn't happen
You
at
just
all.
don't do that.
You want
Especially with
public
strangers.
That didn't
sympathy
happen.
for you being a loser, and you
That didn't
admitted
happen.
it. You admitted that you were a loser. Say it. Did you admit that you were a loser because of how you treated your daughter?
Mike, you are like
Did you
13 years
admit
old.
it?
You're
Mike,
acting like you're 13 years old.
did
It doesn't matter.
you
It doesn't
admit
matter
it?
what
It doesn't
people say.
matter.
What matters is
you
the
admit it?
truth, dude. What
Did you
matters is
admit
the
that you
truth.
were a loser?
The-
You left your daughter.
Listen to yourself, Mike.
You left your
This is why
wife for
I
a
came
whole
on here
year.
tonight, just to
You
make sure I can
admitted
get
that.
another rise out of
Number
you.
two is you
Listen
keep
to
on
yourself,
complaining
man.
that you want your Filipina, who was never your Filipina truly. You are mad because
I
I guess.
I'm glad. Wow, finally, Mike, shut up for once. Jesus Christ, thank God. Holy shit. Yes, I am real, everybody. I've been to the Philippines 20 times. I'm planning on staying there forever. I have a girl of 2.5 years. You guys can all fuck yourself and suck my dick if you don't believe me.
Oh,
I'm not going to show my face because I'm a business owner.
Wait,
dude.
I'm not going to show my face because I'm a business
I'm
owner.
back again. Hold on. You said
No,
you
it was
left,
so much
you left
better
your
without
woman,
you. It was
you
so
left
much
your
better
woman
without
for a
you,
full
Mike.
year.
It was
You
so
left
much
your
better
woman for a
without you,
full
Mike.
year.
It was much better without you, Mike. It was much
Hold on.
better without you, Mike. It was much better without you, Mike. Come on, Mike. You guys having enough antics tonight?
You expected that when you're off the phone, that the woman who you left for a whole year, who you abandoned, will teach your daughter how to love you. When that daughter, her mother,
everybody else I talk to says it's about the mother. It's not about me. It's about the mother. It's about the mother's
want to
teaching.
be honest
You even
with you
joked
in the
about
truth.
it. You even joked
How
about it, saying,
can the
"Oh,
woman teach
Mama
your
says,
daughter
ask
love
Daddy for
about
money."
you
Mama said, you
when
even
she
joke about
never
it.
Okay, let me ask him a
love
normal
from
question.
you?
Let me ask
I'd
him a normal
appreciate if
question.
go ahead.
John, I'm going to ask you a normal question and I'm going to be quiet and allow you to answer it. Okay? I'll be sensible. Why are you going around to everyone's YouTube channel in the expat community to talk about your daughter? Go ahead.
I'm not. And why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying that, dude? I'm not. Why do you keep bringing that up? That's fucking creepy, dude.
You're Philly here and my channel.
Answer the question. Answer it.
I just did in 2 words. I'm not. Right now is
That's
a
exactly
straight up
what you've
fact
been
that I don't
doing,
like
though.
Mike and I don't like what he said to me. It has
You
nothing.
Hang on. Don't deflect. Answer it properly. There must be a
Deflect.
reason.
I answered in 2 questions, Mister. I can't have a proper voice. Why do you want us to think that you have a girl's voice? I don't get it. Why can't you just distort it in a man's voice?
Why can't you answer that question? I was very
I
nice.
just did in 2 sentences. I'm not. The reason why I went on Philly's channel was not because of that. The
I
reason
saw you
why I
on
went
Big Kevin's channel doing exactly the same thing,
it had
telling the
nothing to
exact
do with
same
my daughter.
story.
It had nothing to do with my daughter.
I saw you saying it.
It had
That's the
nothing to do
first
with
thing
her,
you brought up.
It had no, that's the only connection I have to the Philippines, you
You
retard.
did. No,
That's the only
expat
connection
John.
I have.
I've
I
subscribed
went
to
for
every channel
vacation
and
and
I've
I
seen you
knocked up
doing
a
it
girl.
everywhere.
I went for
You're
vacation.
obviously after sympathy, some sort of communication. I don't know, but you're not right in the head because no one does that.
All right, guys. Again, just so you guys know, we had to ex-nay our last guest only because you really.
We don't mind truths, okay? We don't mind, we appreciate the ones that are actually in here, but when he actually
You can't drop F-bombs and
retard bombs and all that, sorry. Hey, listen.
Point being,
I mean, if people get sensitive about certain words, I'm okay, but I only know part of this guy's story, okay? And I told George that's I was just talking to him a minute ago, muted to talk about it, but evidently he likes to drop names. He's obviously
Yeah, look,
very
I
frustrated.
apologize for what I was doing, but it's like it is weird
you're more than fine
to do that, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but to go around to all the channels with the exact same story, his opener is about his children, and that's how he gets to know people. I do find that weird for me.
Yeah.
Well, what he's doing is he needs the people to say, "Hey, it's her, not you."
Right.
It's that pat on the back to make himself.
He wants confirmation,
and that's what he wants. He just wants a pat in the back. He just wants that to and that's why he specifically said everyone that I talk to is saying that it's the Filipina. And what's making me laugh is that I say something about what could happen in regards for him and his daughter or whatever, and he says I'm making fun of all Filipinos, yet then he wants to say, okay, well, everyone agrees with me that it's the Filipinas' fault. And the thing though is he cannot deny the fact that he did abandon them for a year. He's really mad about, he stated several times, was that when he's off the phone, he expects the woman to then unfortunately teach his daughter to love him.
So,
and how can she teach the child to love him when her experience with him was that he abandoned her, and shows up later when things are done, and then he expects things to happen? And what's funny is he keeps on saying that that's not his picture when it is. I mean, so, yeah, okay, fine. I put an eggplant.
Hey, Mike, remind me. Sorry, I just going to cut in here. The photo that he was showing, that when you did the interview with regular guy a little bit back, this guy came further in, the one that had the $sign on his face, and he put the.
Oh my God, that
that's
guy.
the photo that he just put in there.
No,
that's the refrigerator, but I don't think it's.
No, that photo is Perez Hilton.
Oh, that is him.
That's Perez Hilton. Perez Hilton is because he compares me to Perez Hilton, because Perez Hilton was that blogger that, like, did a lot of exposure in regards for.
No, I know who he is, but when you did that video, I just recognized the photo that he kept putting up. So when you did that video with regular guy, some guy came on that same day on part 1 of your regular
the weird Assyrian guy with like,
right. And if you look, that was the refrigerator shot.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Because you can see, because he put his phone inside of the refrigerator because it was overheating. And it had that weird ceiling to the actual refrigerator. He didn't use his own photo. He used that for some reason. He's really been in your channel.
I don't know. Yeah, I swear though, that guy that came across after I talked to Scotty, that guy was something. I was like,
that's his photo. That's the photo he just used. But I know it's not him, so I just thought I'd let you know where I read, because I'm pretty good, like, spot on remembering things. And I was just telling George about him this morning because I was watching that part 1 to the interview, because George's like, he had interviewed him a while back, and I'm like, I don't think Mike ever had him on. And then I went into this morning, I was like, yeah, now I remember. But then that guy came on in the second part. I was like, who's this guy? But that's the photo that he put on his phone to put up to us. But
it was too small. But I mean, the thing is like, going back to the topic of regular guys, stuff like that. No, it's okay. I mean, because that Perez Hilton dude is funny to me. But since you guys want to go back to topic in regards for regular guy, I don't agree with a lot of things that he does. I will say that. I will truly say that. I would honestly say to the fact that, what, he can get in trouble. He's done a couple things that I think takes him to the next level where he can have some problems. And as a content creator, like, him and I never really butted head, but he's butted head with a lot of people that I respect myself. Technically, regular guy has called me a troll because he then says people that are friends with this person are trolls. So, that's his comment. I've had conversations with Scotty in the past. I've interviewed him and stuff like that.
Yes.
But the thing though is sometimes as content creators, sometimes I don't even like calling myself a content creator, but sometimes a lot of people get swept away by their commenters and they follow it without paying attention. And so, sometimes you give what people want, but we've had conversations in the past, George and Heidi, that in the back of things, I'm like, watch out for this person because there's a play that's happening because I'm seeing this happening in another channel.
And we've consulted you about other vloggers where we might have crossed the line, or sometimes the content goes too far situation.
And I even though, like, the person's still there, we've had conversations aside, I'm not going to get mad at you guys because you guys either agree or like something from someone that I disagree with.
Right.
That's just how it kind of works a little bit. But that Muslim thing could be bad. And I've even, like, in the past, when I was first really talking a lot to Scotty, I've said to him, I'm like, bro, this one right here, that might get you in trouble. And those were like even the small things back then. But he's evolved. He's been in the Philippines for a while. He's been in certain areas. That's
You're referring to the underage girls on his channel, the images, right? He removed them.
Like when he was in Angel City and stuff, yes.
Well, he had that one thing where, you know, it's still circulating. I've seen these videos where, you know, he looked over some girl's shirt, he like pulled it up and stuff
Yeah,
like
that was
that.
in Angel City. Yeah.
So that was in English City. So I was like, when I saw that, I was like, good googly muggly. I'm like, you know what? You know, there's a thing in the Philippines that, you know, just because you think that people don't know, people are watching. And especially in Angeles City. So I'll give you a quick example, right? If you guys remember Expat King, right? I don't know, you know, where he was doing a lot of those really close-ups to other to girls in Angeles City, right? And he was doing a little bit too much. You know, when his channel finally went down, I would get messages from friends of mine who are bouncers at bars and clubs and stuff like that. They would literally tell me that, you know what, we're still seeing him. And then it got to the point that some of these guys who are big, if you guys pretty much see, if you see the biggest Filipino bouncers in Angeles City, I know them. I'm friends with them, right? Especially the ones in front, right by NBs and stuff like that. The really huge guys. Those are friends of mine. Like, we continuously have conversations, and they would literally tell me there's a mark on this guy. Like, if an Expat King actually walks around till he gets discovered, he's marked.
That guy.
Like, he's marked. And some of these bouncers are, you know, will literally be the ones who's going to get after you. So, you know, the thing though is, like, you have to watch it. And if you become a target, it's going to be hard. But look at what happened to that, what's his name? The German something. What's his name? What did they call him? German Foggy German guy?
Yeah, German Foggy. Yeah.
German Foggy and stuff like that. That guy is still in jail. Until now, without a trial. So just to let you guys know, he's still in jail.
Hey, Mike, do you think, and I want to question on in between, I was talking, we had a long conversation about this. Do you ever think the Philippines will have another law or crack down on these vloggers?
About what though?
About
Indecency?
all of that, about like really invading privacy of everybody. I get the street vlogging. They claim that they, you know, YouTube says if somebody's privacy, remove it, but they never enforce it. I promise you, they just don't enforce this stuff. And so what I'm saying is, Philippines itself, with the vast amount of vloggers that happened during the pandemic and the ones that are showing up, it's like 5 times as many. What I'm saying is, no matter where you go, even if it's a Filipino vlogger, just, you know, like the permits and the taxes, and they just announced a couple years ago that they must get the permits, and nobody's following through with anything through all of that. Plus,
but it's changing. It's just slow. That is changing. The infrastructure first, and the policies tail behind. But it has been a lot. Look, back in the day, there was no such thing as paying. Well, I shouldn't even really discuss this, but it was the Wild West, wasn't it, George? Back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
it
yes,
was.
yeah. Yes. No, we know it's a slow change. I was just saying, you know, eventually we definitely know they're kind of working on both right now. I've been impressed since I've been here for 3 years, the difference that the country is actually making as far as all that. But I was actually wondering if it was actually
Jonathan still backstage.
Was.
He left. I like him. He's fun to debate with.
Well, the problem I have with him is he did kind of the same thing on Brian's channel and other channels. He's just, for us, it's too much because we still do monetize. So we've always been open that we do monetize. Most of it goes back into apps and cat food and stuff, but it's, you know, once a few of them are said, we'll probably have a red X on this when we're done. But then he went into, you know, going into other things. So then he came in. Yeah, so she did say that, yeah. Unfortunately, right now he's, and he could have done that to begin with. So I don't know why he would go in as the other and then come in, you know, as himself. He officially was in there, but
as long as you delete the stream straight away, it won't strike. You won't get a thing on it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, thank you.
If we do what?
He's basically saying if we get rid of the stream, we won't get stricken. I don't think we will. Bring on Philo.
Well, what would actually no? We've never been struck. What I'm saying is it'll hurt the AdSense, so we still do monetize. So the best thing we could do is cut that section out, which is probably what we'll do. So that's what happens. Is
the
we've never
gentleman
had any
below me,
strikes.
is he going to? Do you want to say something?
I'm sorry, you're talking to me.
Do you want to say something?
Oh, he's talking to you, Michael. Michael's usually quiet. Yeah. So what's going on, Michael?
Oh, not much. Just living the life, listening to roosters. Hell, I was thinking about starting a channel of my own, but just really talk about retire young on a low budget in the Philippines. But if all you were talking about how the commenters and everything can, or I think Mike mentioned that, or somebody did, but it can draw you in and get you on the wrong path. Maybe I'll just disable comments. But yeah, I want to do a channel. Maybe I'll talk to you guys separately for some advice. But
yeah, no, we can help you on that for sure.
Yeah, down to earth and real, and just talk about my story and give people thinking about retiring here. Basically, how I've done it on very little. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we still have one more story we want to cover, which, of course, we said that we actually would. What do we have left?
Well, just real quick before we go move on, Go actually said something that back then it was actually worse than it was in the Philippines, and no, this is true. And actually, I have friends. I know of friends who've actually been on both sides of that coin. And I won't go too deep in the political manner in the sense, but unfortunately, it's not just. Again, I'm not attacking nor condemning any country in particular, but everywhere in the world right now, it seems like everything's getting worse. Philippines no different. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying. I hate to say this. Anywhere you go, it's not rainbows and sunshines, and that's why this channel is here. Now, is it getting worse in the Philippines? Yes, it is. But is it getting worse in different countries, whether in the US, in Britain, Paris? I mean, wherever. It doesn't matter where you're at in the world. Things are getting worse. In fact, I have a video that I watched recently in Brazil of this entire mob going after a guy. I can't show you that video, but point being is, it's everywhere in the world, and don't think that it's all sunshine and rainbows. And again, if these vloggers, walk around and present you this vision that everything's perfect, then there's something wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Still got to take the precaution. Well, somebody left a comment the other day that discussed that the housing bubble and all that stuff just isn't going to pop, and the things that are going on in the world, just not here in the Philippines. He said it's going to happen in the US, but he goes, at least I would rather be in the US. And both me and George looked at each other. And at the end of the day, if it's all going to be hell in a handbag, I would still choose the Philippines right now, because I still feel that my neighbor will actually feed me at this point. Back in Florida, I would not believe that.
Now, there's the other side of the coin, however, again, like I said.
Yeah, there's good and bad.
For example, if me personally, if the world came to hell in a handbasket, as it were, I'd rather be here in the Philippines. And some of you, I'm not saying the
Hey,
reason
Sarah.
why I say that is because, for example, if you have a very strong family support system in the West, again, not necessarily the US, for example, Britain or Australia or wherever you are, if you have a very strong support system in your country, if that country collapses, if you have a strong support system, then yes, by all means, stay there. You have somebody who has got your back. For example, I know a lot of families in the US who are big NRA fans, whatever. And the reason why I say this is because, again, like me, I live literally 3 hours away from the closest relative I have. So what I'm saying is, I have precautions where I have certain, weapons hidden in the house, and have
Including me.
plans. Yes, I have literally thick chains, not the door chain.
You know what I think, George?
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot worse than what you've been showing on your show in terms of trouble with expats. And let me pinpoint the actual underlying reason. It's not for what many people think, and it's something that I've picked up within my community of friends, and I've tried to change their mind, but they're stubborn and their mind is set. They still have a mindset that Filipinos are hard to do by. They don't make a lot of money. Now, I know for a fact the middle class is huge now. Now, 5 years ago when it was undergoing its large growth, yes, there was a lot of window shoppers in the mall still. I'm telling you right now, in the large malls, they're spending big money. Now, the issue I have is these foreigners are still treating everyone, even the people they meet in the street, as if they don't have a lot of money, when in reality, a lot of them have a larger cash flow than what they're actually getting on their pension.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't change their mind shift. Now, having said that, I'm not saying there's still not a lot of people which are not making much money. There's millions, but there's no respect for the size of the Philippine population.
Mm-hmm.
The middle class is huge. So that's going to create a lot of conflict because now people are going to start to see themselves. And I see it now, where security guards aren't always opening the door anymore. Whereas we rewind 5 years, he would throw his lunchbox away to run to the door to open it for me. He wouldn't miss it. Whereas
It's
now,
funny that
you get what I mean?
no,
You're following? I think that's the
Yeah, no, I
underlying.
agree.
yeah,
I agree.
this is true. This is very true.
Very true. That's what me and George was discussing, that because I was just looking at a video today that like there was all brand new cars, like here in our neighborhood, nothing but brand new SUVs and cars that go by. And these just aren't drivers. These are people that's got several cars sitting at their house. And when we go to the mall, yes, they're just not window shopping. These people are spending big bucks. And I literally have to draw back and I was like, I can't afford, to actually, like you're saying, with a bunch of bags. And it's kind of, I know by budget not to go out spending that kind of money, but they're big spenders and they're Filipinos. It's Filipinos at Philip casinos here. It's the Filipinos here in Angeles City throughout everywhere. Like if you go to Dinosaur World and all the places that are here in Angeles City, which just isn't one street, by the way, we'll mention that again, that it is Filipinos spending the money. The restaurants that are at American prices, they're filled with Filipinos. Went to Denny's, it was Filipinos, not expats. There was only one
and
other
it's not
expat.
like it's not like it was 5 years ago, where because we were all aware of the traits in the Philippines, whereas when it used to be the fact they have money, they spend it straight away. So even if they're not rich, they'll go and purchase something they can't afford, knowing they won't have the money the next day. I'm not talking about that. There's been a growth since that. They actually have money ongoing for those purchases. And
Yes.
I'm seeing ridiculous purchases on nonsense things from the Philippine people that I'm refusing to purchase myself.
Right.
So yeah, it's a huge change.
Yeah.
Well, you're also
Yeah,
seeing
that
the
would
fact
actually make
that,
a good topic for sure.
it's more and more now that they're starting to open up credit lines where you can get it's easy to get credit cards now in the Philippines. So a lot of people have open line of credit now as well. So that's a question that needs to be also discussed about that stuff. And don't forget as well, is like the ever growing thing of there's a lot of Filipinos who are now able to work as virtual assistants. And
Right.
so there's
online investments.
yeah, if you're in the business world in the United States, you're hearing it left and right that hire yourself a virtual assistant from the Philippines. And then you can say you can hire one for like $6, $7 an hour instead of hiring somebody and paying them $12, $15 an hour, $20 an hour. So like I know, for example, I did a survey, for example, of a lot of home health agencies, and I've from the feedback I got literally over 700 agencies saying that they're using a virtual assistant now to answer their phone calls. So just imagine that, the amount of money that's coming into a lot of Filipinos now, where they actually don't need to leave the country in order to be able to make this type of money. And so there is more spending that's going on now. But even with that, I mean, if you if you really look at what's going on, you had the e-big fund, for example, where it's easier now for Filipinos to purchase homes, condos and stuff like that, and Filipinos are purchasing multiple condos, so they're starting to have a nice steady flow of income.
Can I add something to that, Michael, regarding the real estate? The real estate is finally starting to behave like the Western world, and what I mean by that is, if any of you guys can think back 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of safety in the real estate system. I see that changing now. There's a lot more confidence in the purchasers. That's a big change.
Yeah, just look. I mean, if you go to, I mean, just like, for example, new houses being built and stuff like that. I mean, the funny part is, like, if you go somewhere like in Metro Manila, or you go Las Piñas, you go to Quezon City and stuff like that. I mean, houses in Quezon City minimum is around 15 million pesos minimum. And so the thing though is, who's purchasing these houses? Filipinos. I mean, if you go to Priscilla Homes, for example, that's one definitely good place to look into. When you start looking at Priscilla Homes, they're charging 25 million, 28 million. You'll see $4 or $5 million in Antipolo and stuff like that. When Antipolo area back in the days was so cheap. It was so cheap to have a home back in the days. But now you're seeing the fact that these houses are getting expensive. I mean, like, I know 4 people who they have a townhouse in Quezon City, and they have a elevator in the townhouse, because the townhouses are built 5 stories up instead of the typical elongated homes. So yeah, I mean, people need to understand it. And it's funny, it's like, for some reason, it's only among foreigners that you hear nowadays where Filipinos are poor people. Like, and so, and you see this constantly left and right, the narrative of some of these people in the comment section, because some of these people probably have only been in the Philippines maybe when they were in military, maybe when it's during the 80s and stuff like that. And like you said, Go, I mean, within 5 years, there is a big change that's happening. And, if that is the increase that we're seeing within 5 years, there's a change. There's a lot of foreigners that are going to be stuck in the Philippines, and they won't even know. You're going to see the big I mean, there's already a separation in regards for the poor and the rich in the Philippines. That is, prominent, as very obvious. But you are going to see that separation happen in another 5-10 years. But one thing that I have said in the past, couple months, is that there might be a bubble in the Philippines that happens in the next 5 years. I feel that there is going to be a bubble that happens, because, history repeats itself, and we might see what happened in 2008 in the United States happen in the Philippines, because there's going to be a loss of jobs in the Philippines within the next 5 to 10 years, a drastic amount of loss of jobs in the virtual world related to AI. So because a lot of these jobs that in the Philippines are the jobs that are easily replaced by AI. And what people don't understand is how AI is evolving within just 1 year, just within 12 months, the changes that happens to AI. Philippines is just literally right now the comfort zone, or the middle part of a transition of companies in the United States transitioning to AI services. Okay. So what's going to happen is, the money that the companies save in the US by shipping all the jobs, these you can say menial jobs in the US, but not in the Philippines, save the money to be able to invest in AI. So a good example is this, is Verizon Wireless, for example, right? They've invested a lot in AI, but they started transitioning a lot of their work to VAs in the Philippines, call centers, all of these things. They got rid of their whole call center in the Philippines, whose sole job was to answer the so if you go into a website, for example, there's sometimes that little thing that pops up and says, do you have any questions? 5 years ago, that was manned by real people. Real people answer those and then transition into voice if you need to speak to someone. No longer is that the case. So there's a whole entire, you can say, I think it was like 200 something Filipinos that were that lost their jobs. And the reason why I know that is because I'm good friends with somebody who was in charge of getting rid of those jobs in the Philippines. he was also in charge of transitioning those jobs to be sent to the Philippines about 4 years ago.
Can I say something, Mike? I agree with you a little bit, but I also massively disagree with you, and allow me to elaborate. So 10 years ago, I was in the exchange watching the invoices coming in for large construction companies in the Philippines, and the money's going around. We're talking, it's a lot of money, more than in the US. I think there's plenty of high-paid jobs in the Philippines not related to call centers. A lot of that is from the Philippine construction companies, and they can afford to pay a lot of people, especially the more specialized ones, a lot more money. And also, regarding the technologies, the Philippines is very, yes, they do things different, don't get me wrong, and we can get into that later because it makes me chuckle. But they seem to be on the crypto train, you know, and they seem to be involved in a lot of tech projects as well in the industry. I would say more so on population than a country like America. I would say a lot of the Western countries are slowing down while the Philippines speeding up in some of those fields.
Yeah, Philippines and India is the one are the two main countries where you see the big push in a lot of those things, right? So that may save the Philippines, but let's also, you know, so I agree, you know, maybe the years are going to be off. Maybe it's not 5 years, maybe it's not 10 years, right? But the thing though is, if the fact that you have a whole city made just for call centers, that can worry me. Right? You have Cebu IT Park, which is literally a city that was created to be a housing for call centers. You know, and so in the end, when
they're building them over here too. So like right now here on Clark, they're building a bunch of them right now.
Yeah, right in the mall. I mean, there's that two big buildings right next to the mall, right next to, you know, SM, you know, Clark. And
So maybe it'll be more industry specific then. I would have to agree with you regarding AI, specifically the call centers. So obviously they're going to go out of business because, right, let's face it, the AI is nearly good enough to do that now if the time was added to perfect it.
I can speak on this. Awesome. Before I'm now retired, but I was a senior systems engineer for a company, and what we did was medical dictation, and we replaced artificial intelligent medical dictation. The company, I'm not going to name names, but we were purchased by a large.
Was it Dragon?
No, we beat. No, we
beat Dragon.
Yes. Yeah. Let's say it started with an M. Okay. And then we were purchased by a large Fortune 500 company for $1 billion. And then I worked for that company for a long time until they went through a bunch of lawsuits over some forever chemicals and laid off 8,500 people. Hence, I'm retiring at 51. So the AI realm, I mean, I'm not talking about ChatGPT. There's bigger players in the game. You look at Palantir, for example. Palantir is big in all kinds. They're in government, they're in military, they're in hospitals. They control 13% of the U.S. hospital beds controls. They are huge. Matter of fact, this is one of the companies I invest in and do cover calls on to make premium money. So yeah, AI is growing at a rapid rate. I follow it because I invest in that realm. So yeah, roosters, I hope they don't come through.
Regarding the ChatGPT, it's restricted to the point I don't even regard it as AI. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever interacted with. I actually posted a video on my channel making
comparing it to what it was last year. It's changed remarkably. That's the thing. It's like, so I mean, if what we've seen what happened within 1 year just within the ChatGPT network by itself,
super woke, man.
Just imagine the more government controlled ones, like what Mike is talking about, the other things that exist out there is where it's just the craziest thing. So it's like it's an interesting part now. Like in the Philippines, yes, the when it comes to what do you call this thing, real estate, when it comes to construction, and I get it, it's a lot of money. But then we also have to understand that when it comes to those kind of things, it's a lot of low-paying, hard-working jobs. So those will stay. But the ones, the people in the middle are not going to get paid as much. It's the ones in the top part. And one thing that people don't understand when it comes to construction in the Philippines, Iglesia Ni Cristo is one of the biggest, companies out there that gets used to, they're the people under them, the people that of that church. So like, Araneta and all that stuff, those are pretty much almost the money goes back into the church. So people need to also understand how that level of thing works. That's why they get those bids, because of the votes that happens. And it's a public, it's something that's public, that's aware. It's not like something like, oh, I got a secret thing that I know. And so, when it comes to those construction stuff, yeah, there's a lot of money in there, but it's the separation of wealth is tremendous. There's the people in the middle are not making as much. Whereas, when we start talking about the ones that can, in the VA jobs and those kind of work, call centers, those people in the middle are able to make that money and spend it. And so what happens when they lose these jobs that starts depleting it, so what's funny is like in the US, we see you can say the destruction of the malls, right? A lot of the shopping malls are disappearing in the United States of America because a lot of people are not shopping anymore. Philippines is a whole different thing. Malls
they go empty first, don't they? But the Philippines has such a large population.
It's like Christmas every time. Every time I go in the mall, it's like, this is like Christmas time in the U.S.
Like you never see that.
Years ago.
I went to H&M just like a few months ago, right? I walked in the mall to go to H&M. And I can literally say I didn't see a single person in front of me or a single person behind me. And when I got to the food court, there was like 5 or 6 people, and they were literally the same place. And I was actually upset. I was like, of all the people that's in the mall, they're in front of me at the Cinnabon. I'm like, I just want my Cinnabon.
Most of them come from is the cinema, yeah.
So yeah, so it's like in the Philippines and stuff like that. We're not seeing that.
I know something really important. I remember 10 years ago, in the supermarkets, and you'd see like it'd be very, very slow, not as many. And like nowadays, they are just everyone does their grocery shopping in the supermarket, because they used to split it up and do some in the market, some in the grocery shop. There's been massive changes to the country.
Yeah,
like
you're right, Go. Even in the last couple years, like I said, I can only speak of the 3 years, but when I know it was still during the pandemic, but that it's been about 1.5 years since the country reopened. And even at that point, there were only so many, people that were in the stores. A lot of people, sorry stores like at certain branches and stuff. But yes, there's nothing but a large flow. Like George had to get in line the other day. I did a short, and there were like people down the aisle. It's so backed up, and their carts are full. And that's another situation, that the prices at the actual store on some things can get to be really expensive, but yet their carts are full. And so, yeah, there's a massive change on that.
Yeah. Just real quick. I know the comments are scrolling, but to stop on this one. One Star Flag says Heidi loves to talk about people getting kicked out of the Philippines. It never happens. False.
They
happens
do.
all the time.
They do a lot every day.
And I don't say directly that they are going to get kicked out. Most of the time, I do try to say
We
they
say
could,
in all probability they probably,
possibility, or if they will,
they could,
they might.
They might. However, no, it never happens. Incorrect. It happens every day. It's on the news every day. Not mainstream news. It's on the back end.
Sometimes they shouldn't be kicked out, and sometimes they should. But the issue is when the authorities start gossiping, they can turn something that's not even illegal, and the person can end up getting kicked out.
Correct.
The fact that Gogo said that tells you it does happen more often than most people. Again, it's not all rainbows.
It's kind of like Rafi Tufo.
Yeah.
At some point, he will say, "Oh, I'll make that phone call, and it's going to happen," and it will actually happen.
Yeah.
Justice can move super slow here, but can also move awful
In fact, it
swift.
happens so often we actually stop talking about the yesterday, immigration kicked out
Can I
X
say
amount of
something?
expats.
There's a lot that I'm probably going to disagree with your channel, George, and even with Mick as well, because I feel part of the guy's role is to be respectful to women, right? But if we look at the behavior of a large percentage of the scamming and all that goes on, I would have to say often there's defense there for the Filipinas that shouldn't really be there. And because certain individuals has worked that out, you guys might, as I say, pick on them without considering maybe they just know the game and maybe they know what they're dealing with is not so honest. You understand what I'm saying?
You mean the Filipino scammers, for example, Gogo?
Well, yes, but not always scammers. One might say there's certain ways of doing things in the Philippines
It's kind of like,
which are
I think
dishonest
what you're
sometimes.
saying is, let's bring it to a more recent event. Now, for example, the Mark Thorne incident. Now, again, in all fairness, there's both sides of the story, and the crowd is split in half. Some people will take Dexter's side, some people will take Mark Thorne's side. Now, I see your point that it's a matter of who gets to pick on who. You know what I mean?
No, George, let me re-clarify. That's a terrible example, right?
Okay.
Because that's foreigner on foreigner. What I'm trying to say is maybe when you shine the darkness on a foreigner when he's dealing with a Filipina, have you considered the traits of a lot of Filipinos? Not all,
Oh, no,
but a
we
lot.
always do. We always do. And
Well,
like,
we are starting to. A lot of our channel was focused on the expat situation, but
well, the reason why I use the Mark Thorne, because honestly, the nationality counts, but not really. In the end, who's right and who's wrong has nothing to do with nationality. Because again, same thing with religion.
Can I disagree with you there too, George?
No,
And let me
I get the
clarify.
point as an expat on an expat point of view, but I'm saying when you cut the line as far as who's right and who's wrong, in the end, nationality doesn't matter.
so basically, you're also saying
Let me
that
give you an example, George. Like, say I say to you, say you say to me, George, that you're sick and you need money, right? And I say to you, George, how much? I already know your response is going to be, it's up to you. Because you want to extract the most money possible you can out of me. I'm not talking about you personally, I'm talking about if you're a Filipino. There's certain traits that you can see before they occur. You understand what I'm saying? There's patterns.
Well,
Now Mike points them out, and that's why he gets a lot of flack because people say that's hating on Filipinos. Whereas I just say it's one of those things that happens.
okay, well, okay, no, I get the trait. It's probably okay. I'm not your example. It's kind of hard to follow for somebody who's never been in the Philippines, because honestly, that is a very annoying trait that I deal with even as a Filipino. Unfortunately, foreigners who's never been to the Philippines won't know what this means. I can explain it to them all I want, but unless they're in that situation, it's kind of hard to follow. But no, I understand, and I do again tend to consider all the facts.
Yeah.
Actually,
So if you saw a
that's why
guy,
we have
right?
Heidi here. That's why we have Heidi here to bring out
So
her
George,
side.
if you saw a guy and he was being just very straight with his Filipina, which in the West would actually consider that rude, maybe he's doing that because he already knows the score. You following me now?
No.
I mean, so the thing though is that
the thing that Mike does now, and I see where you're talking about, kind of like Mike does it. We used to, but yes, George did say that I was going in too hard or something. But yeah, I mean, we kind of
Well, okay. First off, again, we're I'm not quite sure if Mike, well, MYK Mike or Michael, see where you're coming from. No, I mean, again, but you know, to be honest with you, Heidi and I do discuss things on and off camera. And the thing we have here going for whenever we talk about a subject before we put it on a live, we talk about, because even I say, hey Heidi, just so you know, on the Filipino side, this is my view, and I get her side. We do analyze and try to go as many angles as possible, and I even say I understand but I don't agree, or vice versa. Heidi understands but she doesn't agree. Now I get that, but it's kind of hard to overgeneralize. In all fairness, overgeneralizing a typical situation is, it's just overgeneralization. I mean, I get it. Like certain ones that, for example, we get attacked. Okay, again, nothing to do with you, Gogo. We get attacked for, oh, you're always siding with the Americans. Okay, loosely using Americans. Oh, you're always siding with the Filipinos. We get both sides of emails and comments and direct messages. You're always siding with the Filipinos. You're always siding with the Americans. The fact we're getting both tells you we're not. But there are certain instances where we tend to veer towards a particular
for good
situation.
reasons. I'm going to be honest, for good reasons, Gogo, because as me as an American female expat, they're going to be watching hard. And there was already an instance where a Filipino has gone after me. So maybe that's why. I would love to say a lot more, but me as an American, I just feel that, I'm sorry, there's just certain lines that I won't cross. That's just being honest. Because I would love to. I would love
yeah,
to
sure
fully
you would,
speak my
because
mind.
the other thing is, it's like I can label an entire country based on quirks. So what I mean by that is, I know 100% whatever Filipino I'm speaking to at the time, I can predict the first 3 sentences of our conversation. So,
Right.
now, is that such a bad thing labeling? No, it's a quirk. You could probably do that with other countries. But
Oh yeah.
you got to admit, it gets under your skin, right? The fact that I already know
There's
the
a
first
lot,
3
yes.
sentences.
It does. It does.
Even for George and for me, 100%. And I would probably say probably the first 6 months was the hardest, because there was really things that I wanted to put out. I really, really, really actually do. But I guess I told George that if for me, I don't know. I get it. I'd love to put out a lot more raw stuff, and some still do. Some still actually do, but it's
It's hard balance.
it's really a hard balance right now. That's why I'm more geared towards the expats. And that's why we have George's opinion. That's why I like having Mike in there, because Mike is going to actually say it. But
Me? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? I'm very innocent here.
Oh, that's
Not
MYK.
much.
That's Mike, and that's MJ.
You know what, though? A lot of the stuff you touch on is very light-hearted. It's just because you have a lot of followers, they take it more deep. The hilarious thing is, though, when I watch your programs, both Mike's and your program, I think if only they really knew their story was 1,000 times worse than what they're even saying. If only they knew the sexual exploitation and violence associated
correct,
with
which
that
is
individual
something
and topic.
correct. And we would, believe me, I have actually, there's a bunch of things that we wanted to break down, but unfortunately, because of the sensitivity of people and people reporting constantly, which we've never had any strikes, but once or twice they reported some of the things we said. We had to chop the stuff out of the videos, probably about 3 times since we started. Yeah, we would love to cover all that. If I thought forget about the monetization. We've been open about that. We make maybe $300-400 tops each month. Okay, so it's just like extra change for us. But the problem is we can lose the entire channel. So 3 years worth of work could actually go down for saying certain things. Like we was covering the legalization of Mary Jane that may still come to the Philippines or probably go medical first. They hit us. We dropped down to 12 viewers and they cut us off. And so when you cover certain topics, including, like I said, the exploitation and the real realities of the Philippines, then it could, and it would include things about the government and everything. Believe me, I would love to actually do it. And I've actually been telling George, but there is some pushback from George as a Filipino. He actually said, no, that's too harsh, or no. He actually, at some point, we've had full blown out arguments and fights over it. He said that I was being too harsh, or he said, I mean, it really upset him. So there's a tough balance in this house.
Yeah.
So,
and just real quick again, it's still in the subject that Text World says if there's an upcoming nuclear war, which can't be ruled out, Philippines is the place to be to escape ground zero Western targets. Now, well, okay, first off, let's not go to the nuclear war because honestly, the probability of that is low. But and if nuclear war does occur, it doesn't matter where you are on Earth. Eventually, you're gonna get,
Western targets. Yeah.
Well,
There's a link there if you guys want to check out that interview and tell me your thoughts too. In the
However,
private chat, George.
when you're talking about getting ground pounded, meaning if you get, bombarded and what's that?
I was thinking
What did
something
you
else.
call it? Ground pounded?
Yeah,
Ground pounded.
I was thinking of something else there for a second. Like ground, what?
Oh, okay.
I don't get it.
I'm talking about
Okay, fine.
I'm talking about
Ground and
military
pound.
terms.
It's
I'm talking
ground
about
and pound,
military
George.
terms.
It's
Okay.
ground and
You know what he meant.
Okay. In all
That's a
probability,
round,
an
ground pound,
actual
ground,
mad occurrence, mutually assured
Something
destruction.
like Mad Max.
Will it occur? No, probably not. But there's going to be ground pounding,
It's
meaning
coming.
that's when whole cities will be leveled down to the ground by conventional bombs and all that kind of stuff. Actual conventional warfare. That's what I mean by ground pounding. Now,
Empanadas, anybody?
first off, again, Philippines is somewhat safe. I say somewhat. The reason being it's a strategic location in the Pacific. To control Pacific, you need a good centralized landmass to refuel and logistics, your food. Troops still need to eat and all that kind of stuff. That's what Philippines is for. That being said, you're safe as far as being obliterated off the face of the planet, but you're gonna have different countries who's gonna be trying to take over the Philippines. So I'm not. You're safe as far as being is the whole city going to be leveled? Is Metro Manila going to be leveled? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to have a lot of invasions depending on the countries at war. Kind of like World War II. It's a hotbed. Battle of Leyte. Everybody knows Battle of Leyte. John Douglas MacArthur. You shall return. Point being is that's part of the topic we're talking about. Like if it hits the fan, what's safer in the US or in the Philippines. Now, in all fairness, certain locations in the US should stay away from, but certain locations in the US are relatively safe. I said relative, I put air quotes on that.
George, there's something you did that really offended me, George. Like, really upset me. Do you know what that is?
No.
You put the word beanie bears in the title. I'm friends with some of those beanie bears.
Are you? Speaking of which,
well, actually,
I'm sorry, man. I don't know that just came onto my radar because George goes. Me and George were talking about two different things. I said, "Man, that's about the stupidest thing I ever seen." And then George was like, well, he was just shipping Billy. He went into all the technicals of shipping. And I'm like, all he did was pack up his storage and he sent every single thing. Play the tape. Let's play the tape.
Mike had something to say about this before the unpacking. And I agree with Mike. And I'm sure it'll be brought up because of what happened.
What happened?
Oh yeah. We were talking about the Billy Buying boxes. So
the Billy Bong boxes.
Mark Thornton sent 10 or 11 or 12 boxes. He said he paid $1,200 to pack up his storage and he shipped it here. And literally he sent everything. Because one of the boxes came open and there's something coming up, but he sent everything here. He sent it to himself. Now, In the Philippines, there's rules of how much you can send, like money wise and whatever. And I'm sure he hit that $3,000 mark, but it's to save taxes. So basically, he was trying to save money again, including the packing.
So he sent
material.
himself his own boxes, and now he makes videos on the boxes.
Then he makes the videos on the boxes.
Marks.
But he left his address on there and everything. Like it was in plain view. When we put it up, we took his address off of it. But he put his full address in front of everybody, showed that he sent him to himself. And then he definitely probably is over the tax amount that he's allowed. Even like you could say, okay, well, I sent it to her. Well, then he should have put it in her name. Like when George sent boxes here, he sent them to himself and we didn't exceed the value. And so that's the original one.
Yeah, I know, but you were talking though, because
yeah, so
the other one has
we
audio.
blanked it out and everything, his address. But so he had, I mean, he's not going to go to jail, because the first thing I was like, oh, he might go to jail over that. And then we thought about it, like, no, they'll just get him for the taxes, or, you know, if he knew. And then, of course, people like, well, he already unpacked them, so they won't know the value. Well, then it should have been declared on the box. Nothing will probably be made of it. But the most recent boxes, he just opened up 2 more, and it's a bunch of broken glass and memories of his daughter and a shitload of Beanie Bears.
I got questions about all this. Can you take this image off the screen? Because it might me lag.
Okay.
Oh, well, actually, I was going to play the video.
Yeah, play the other one real quick. Yeah, play the other.
Yeah,
He's
play
gonna
it
play
first.
Surprise. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Is that Beanie Bears?
It's a coffee grinder.
And there's his 110 coffee grinder. He said he might be able to plug that in. But he had a bunch of broken items. That he didn't put any packing around there. He didn't put no foam. He should have used them damn Beanie Bears in that box, for Christ's sake. At least it would have been worth something.
They're all broken. Just leave it in there then.
There's his nice shot of his. You guys, again, he's got his elaborate mic set on. He was really disturbed on them broken. There's his cruise ship mugs. Them were so important to ship. Sorry, I sped it up there.
No, we got it cracked.
Quite a bit of broken glass. So lesson, guys, pack well.
Yeah, we might be able to fix that though. It's only broken.
That just means he probably didn't have a Filipino to pack for his Black buying box.
Right.
Yeah.
I would pack that so good. Got some Suave lotion in there, Suave $1.99 shampoo and conditioner.
He's got something better in there. He's got something really sweet in there, Mike.
Then some Spam.
He said he had like his cummerbund tuck stuff or something. He goes, I'm not going to need that no more. I bet he's not.
Good for him.
More broken stuff, and it happened to be the stuff of his daughter.
Can you imagine a girl that age living with a guy that's so boring like that talks like a snail?
Hey, Mike, special tape.
What?
There's a special tape. You missed it.
What was the special
What's the T
tape?
stand for? He had to tell her Thornton. Terrific, maybe?
What was
Yeah,
the special
now
tape?
T is for Tata. I don't know. What is the T for there, Mike?
Now, the reason why I keep bringing this up is because Mike just said it. What's wrong with this picture, Mike? You said it. You said it just a second ago.
Which
that a
one?
Filipino didn't pack that box.
Well, no, just if you see the inside, you know, the way it's packed, it's like, you know, there's open holes. And then this one right here, if a Filipino packed this, I mean, heck, if I pack this sucker, this thing will be bulging. Like you would need the ropes to make it become it would look like a basketball, and the ropes will make it look like a square again after I do that.
In these 2 boxes, Mike, there were books. He was proud of the Rabbit series books he has, but it was books, crowns, old crowns and paint, which the paint could be dried up by now, but because it was already open and stuff. So he sent the paint, the books, and broken glass and glass items. They broke along the way, but he sent that. And then he sent the crap load, a whole box, because if you break them out of both boxes, probably at least a half a box of Beanie Bears. He said that he paid $100 each for one of those Beanie Bears. I told George I placed money in my life the way he talked so sweetly about them that he bought
Beanie
them
Bears or Beanie Babies?
He bought them himself.
Okay, George, Jonathan's backstage. As long as he doesn't swear, is it okay to bring him up? And also, I've got questions to you, George, and your wife, and also to Mick as well regarding this Mark Thornton thing too.
Is what?
I didn't understand it. Yeah, but just real quick again, just be nice to Mark Thornton. He might be into stained glassware, but now, okay, here's the thing. I'm just letting you guys know. We shipped glassware. We did. We sent. Actually, our plates right now are from there that we use on a constant basis. We have our own collection of, you know, like I had a collection of plates and mugs from Disney. Like I have the annual Disney collection, and these are all
Are you gonna say
glassware.
I know precious moments, George?
Right, exactly. So what I'm getting at is, guess what? Not a single, not even one of glassware. In fact, I have a little
No, we didn't
figurine
lose
like
anything.
in a glass bubble. It's a glass bubble and it has little figurines inside that I got for Heidi. Not a single one broke. And what I'm getting at is, guys, make sure you pack properly. And the reason why I say the wrong thing about that box, the top is caved in. Here's the thing: if your box shakes, it's not packed right for balikbayan boxes. The reason being is they throw these around like
And they
sack of
stack-
potatoes.
Yeah, well, that and they stack them.
So,
they stack them
Yeah,
high.
this will
can
stack
shake it.
6 high because in the containers and stuff like that, it's meant to go 6 high.
Correct.
If they're going to have a half container, a full container, depending on how these things work. And so if your box is looking like this and gets put in the bottom during the rotation, just expect that there's going to be like 5 boxes on top of your box that's going to be pushing down, and then it's going to be in a big freight ship. So it's going to be going up and down nonstop. So the pressure that's going to happen, you better learn. Like the best way to pack, you're going to put a blanket in the bottom, blanket in the side, or
Correct.
t-shirts. Roll your t-shirts to make it extra rolls. You know, make sure that when you have your little shampoos and lotions, you put tape over it because it's going to explode.
Right.
And then you put it into a Ziploc or the leftover plastic bag. Like, have a Filipino pack your balikbayan box if you're going to do it. Like, do it right.
Right.
Like, you know, or else you're going to have those broken glasses, you know? Just say.
Right.
So, okay, so am I right to say that you're leaning away from Mark's side and leaning towards Critter Hunter's side? Is that a fair comment for both of you, Mick and also for you too?
You guys can go. You want me to go first?
Either or. Who would like to go first?
So yeah, so while George, so I come from it from the outside, right? Just looking in. I'll say one thing is that Mark was wrong for posting that video because that was stupid. Because then you had the admission of what happened. I cannot speak for Justin because I haven't heard his side fully, truly. But anything that Mark complained about what Justin was saying, it's all true anyways. What Justin was saying, because it was proven, right? That's one. Number two is, I mean, we've had Mark's, you know, when he interviewed that Steven guy, even the thing with Steven of him, you know, because, you know, Mark is like, I'm protecting Steven because Justin was talking about the vasectomy and all those kind of things, right? But they never even they never even went back on it, like how he was laughing that his wife doesn't know that he had a vasectomy, that, you know, and then so they didn't try to deny that, but by not talking about it, they're denying it. But then Justin's not lying. How does Justin know about that information other than the fact that it was discussed between the men, right? And a lot of the stuff that was being discussed is, you know, the thing is, who told people? If Steven didn't say anything about that stuff, if he's saying it didn't occur, then that person that shared that was Mark Thorne, because Mark is the one that got that stuff. They're just, it's just going back and forth. But like I said, I can't speak anything for Justin in regards for what happens and for Dexter. Well,
so you're basically saying that he was the one making all the cheese mess in the beginning.
though I think that everything is true among each other on what they're all saying to
Yeah.
each other. And the
I
reason why I'm
believe
saying
they were
everything
all
is
going at
true
each
is
other,
because
yes.
they're just releasing the dragons right now because they're hurt right now. But one thing that we do know is that the daughter of Stephen has showed up and said that he has a vasectomy and he's had it for over 20 years now. The daughter of Stephen. So then, you know, because I interviewed her and I'm gonna, you know, I spoke to her. So she reached out to me. So here's the fun fact about the whole thing. It's like I look at it as just as in the outside. I think that there's fault within Dexter, there's fault within Mark, there's fault within Steven, there's fault within Justin. But here's the fun fact that you have to look about things. All these stuff that they're sharing among each other, they've known about it with each other for so long. So they've been hiding all this information in the public because they were all friends at one given point. So they knew about Dexter's so-called the type of women that he prefers to be with. Steve was roommates with Dexter and knew about all of these things that he was doing, even though you would say he's a retired cop. But they're willing to hang out with people with problematic pasts or things that they do. The only reason why this is out in public now is because there was a disagreement. So in the end, these guys are all bad people that don't want to share, you know, that just they outed
But when you say
themselves
all these guys are all bad people, you're referring to
among
Mark and
those four
the
people.
police officer, ex-police officer, and
Yeah,
that's
among
it.
because
So you're not bringing Critter Hunter into it then. So you have made your side towards Mark.
No. What I'm saying is also Critter Hunter was friends with them also. So, you know, if you tolerate those type of people among your friendship, what does that say about you? Because then you're outing it as well. So in my honesty thing is like they all have their own problems. And here's the thing, I can't fully say stuff about Critter Hunter with stuff because he has not put any word into this, unfortunately. Right? So, you know, I don't see the skin in the game to be able to make enough comments about him to make that decision. But in the end, it's like they were all friends, and then this all just came about just because they had a disagreement, and then they started blasting.
I understand whose side you're on now. So what about you, George? Whose side you on?
Actually, that's the thing. We actually never took sides. That's a big misnomer and misconception because what we said is, again, well, first off, we don't know the whole story. I mean, we have he says, she says, they say, whatever. We presented again what Ground Zero's stance was. We presented the letter that Ground Zero presented. We presented what Ground Zero's, you know, again, according to Ground Zero and the letter and the notice that, hey, Mr. Mark Thornton, you're not allowed here anymore, and you're not allowed to harass our
Employees,
staff,
right?
our
So
employees.
from the
And
treatment of the
also, what we also said is, guys, don't broadcast whatever wrongdoing you did on YouTube.
the punching and everything.
Correct.
So
It's not from us accusing. It's not even an alleged. He actually blatantly admitted to what he did. Now, again, we don't know as far as, and I even said during those vlogs or those lives, I said, remember the rule of battery is, you know, unwanted touching. So, as far as fights go concerned, as far as the law is concerned, whoever touched the other guy first, it doesn't matter if it's like this, that's battery if they didn't want to be touched, and that depending on the, you know, the law, lawyer, judge, whatever. Usually, they usually tend to go that way. Meaning, I mean, we don't know if Dexter touched him. He didn't say he did.
But Mark said that he asked him to step outside, and he clearly said afterwards, "You know what that means."
Correct,
And
but
so-
not necessarily, because even then, what I'm saying, I'm not interrupting Heidi, as in not necessarily as in that's what it means, because even to this day, if you read the comments on that video, there's an argument over both sides. When somebody tells you, let's go take a step outside, honestly, Have I been told that? Have I talked to people and say those exact words? Did we swing at each other? No.
So
And a lot of
you have
people,
taken a side then, George. You've taken the legal side.
right? Okay, yes. Then they would be on the legal
Yeah,
side,
that's
but
what we
it's not
actually
a.
said, or what could actually
It's not a
happen.
personal side. It's not a. We're just saying, hey, don't broadcast. You hit somebody, and you admitted to it, and that kind of stuff. You know, just
Feel that way. Yeah, like I said, there are
What do
people
you
here in
think?
Angel City I don't want to see. If they're there and I know we've had disagreements and there's several vloggers, then I would just walk out of that place. Even if I know they've been talking, which some have, and I knew all of this stuff. And that's what he admitted to, that it's been going on for a long period. We've had one person for over 2 years that's been doing it. But if I seen that person, I'm not just going to approach them or even take it from a distance. I'd have went right back out. There's many
of
other
course.
coffee shops.
You don't
that
want
are-
that conflict in the Philippines.
Right, because I don't want to even take a chance, because I probably got twice as much, twice as much chance that I'm actually going to be made to leave.
You know something that I don't like. With my stance, I don't like any of it, actually. Can you still hear me? Am I clear?
yes, yes.
Because you remember when we had that big typhoon? You remember that? And there was a lot of people doing the fundraisers, right?
Right.
And Critter Hunter did a fundraiser, which
Yes,
I
he did.
remember. And there were a lot of people donating for foodstuffs. And then he would take the foodstuffs and he would take it to the community. And you know what was happening? Does anyone know? Did you watch the videos? Mike,
I
did you watch?
watched some of the videos. I know he showed several where he went and bought large amounts. He took them out, and I know there was a clamor over the food on some of them. But
Right, so these people that were donating to Critter Hunter's little venture, right? Because this is back when he was trying to get known. They thought these people couldn't feed themselves and they needed a rice. Yes? That's the impression, the reason why they were donating.
For some people, that may be the unfortunate thing. How they say some people just wants to help. It's just So, but I get it.
AK did the
You know,
same interesting.
because that's the problem with some people, is like they don't understand the logistics of how things works in certain areas and stuff like that. So they think that maybe that they're that they're secluded and trapped in an area when really it's not.
And what
that
did we
way
see
in
on the
that particular area.
videos, Mike? What did we see on Critter Hunter's videos when he distributed the food? There was no food distribution. That's not how you distribute food to people that need food. I know how you distribute food to people that are hungry and need food. And you don't host parties with the vloggers' money and have lechons and everyone drinking and laughing at the people that had donated the money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't repeat that another 2 times with the donations that were meant for people that couldn't eat.
So then you're saying that he gave the illusion that he did it?
I think it's disgraceful having parties on the donator's expense, thinking they're feeding people from the typhoon. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I think Critter Hunter should be deported from the Philippines because it is illegal. He's not licensed to do that. And I just think it's so low. It's the lowest thing.
I never saw that video, to be honest. I just seen the stuff when something about
I
the only
did
video I
see the
remember of
party.
it was something was wrong with somebody's house and the roof or something that he had to help fix. I think it was like a relatives or something like that, or relative of his girl. That's the only thing I do remember. And then there was like there was debris in the road they couldn't get through and stuff like that. That's the only thing I remember in regards for his particular content.
Well, the only thing
but
that
I
I
do.
sent real quick, Mike, sorry. I did see the few videos where it showed him gathering. I seen him go to the store and buy it. Now, that's not to say, I'm not saying whether it did or didn't, that he didn't keep it or he didn't give it away to neighbors and close relatives or anything. but it showed him going and getting the stuff. Now, I can't recall because I didn't watch every single video.
Yeah, he got the
cannot
food.
recall.
He did get the food. That's not where the issue is. He bought the food, but they held parties where people had food and they're getting drink and they're laughing and they're eating lechon together.
I thought those parties were the people that were helping him that went out and did all of that. I thought that was the explanation.
No, I think it's where the donators' monies were going.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem where, number one is like number one is if you should not be doing funding, fund drives. You should not be asking for money for whatever these type of tragedies or all these kinds of. Now I get it, certain Filipinas do it, but I really laugh when I hear a lot of people comment, well, the Filipinos do it. Well, I'm like, yeah, exactly, the Filipinos do it, let them do it. You're not Filipino, you shouldn't be doing that. And this is the thing where it is illegal to actually have fundraising in the Philippines without having proper authorization. And there's 2 different organizations you have to get approved by in order to be able to start, building up money. And this is where I get it. You want to help people. All right. You want to pull on the heartstrings. You know what? There is this thing in YouTube where you can say, hey guys, I can put the link and you can tell them where to donate on the proper organizations that's going to be able to help in the local aspect of things. And you can do the fundraiser that way.
Exactly. But they won't do it that way because they all want to do it the Ricky way, where they skim off the top and profit from it.
And that's why there is, you have to get approved because you have to turn in your proper information on how much money was spent for logistics, how much money was spent in regards for administration, and how much money was actually used to spend to the people, where the money went to the people that's supposed to be meant to. That's why you have to be approved if you're doing that stuff. And foreigners should not get into those kind of things. And that's where, I do disagree. And I do think it's wrong, and it is, and I hate, you have to say it. And you've said it, Go. And I've said it before in regards for Sunshine Shoulder and several other people that's done it. It is illegal. It's illegal. It's against the law. And the thing though is, and people will sometimes say, well, I'm trying to help people. I get it. I understand. But that does not mean you do something illegal.
George, that Jonathan's trying to come up. He's trying to talk to you in the chat. He says he won't swear and he won't talk over you or anything.
Right, but he's doing it inside of the chat also.
Right.
I mean, he's kind of made some shrewd comments in the comments.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't behave, just kick him. Just kick him straight off.
Yeah, but we already did it the first time.
Yeah, he's promised several times.
I mean, if we give him a second chance and then he does it again, then
he's gonna. How about this? Tell him to turn on the camera. Tell him to show his face if he wants, because he's been given multiple. No,
he actually did. He was actually on there the last time.
Okay,
but
that's the thing, right?
Some comments that I'm not okay. And
yeah, but he adds to the content. It's funny.
Somebody else, it would be whatever actual guest, but it just, the words have to definitely be controlled. So.
He made for example, he made this comment. I am assuming that liars and drama queens are better at being calm and respectful than I am. So how is a drama queen, if a person's a drama queen, because this is a private chat, guys, he said, if a person's a drama queen, they're not going to be calm. Like, this is the same thing where he said in my channel.
I can tell by his statement, that just his words, that he's not going to come in calm.
Yeah, you gotta admit, he's amusing. Like, I enjoy ripping him to shreds. It's fun.
It's the same person.
I got that, but there are other channels that allow. I mean, it's not that it's swinging in anybody's favor. It just reminds me of some of Brian or Philly in the Philippines chats, or Andy Omar has some things, and then there was that. Who was the other guy?
Okay, look, I'm the other guy. I did let him in my channel, and he's upset that I
see it this way. I see it this way. There's already been swearing on your channel, so it's best to delete this particular stream anyway.
I'm not going to delete the stream, Go. We rarely take streams down, and I'm not going to remove a stream because he comes in and starts again. Yes, for the time being, it seems like the ideal. But then it would just leave me. The other option is for me to go in and edit the parts out too, which does take hours. So,
but what if he does behave? What if he behaves? What if he behaves?
Yeah. Now, going back on the donations, and one thing again, what irks my boat, as they say, is there's a lot of vloggers that collect donations for these victims, right? And then they distribute the wealth, as it were, food stuff, whatever. And the thing is, most of the time I see it, they give it to their relatives. A lot of people aren't aware. I believe it's against the law to collect for donations and then distribute it to relatives, right? Is that right?
Well, yeah, it's completely illegal to do that because that
You're not
means you're
supposed to
using it for
donate
your
at
use.
all.
Correct. And that's unfortunately a lot of these vloggers tend to do that. And I'm like, those are relatives. I need to even tell Heidi.
But you got to understand, that's where most of the money is. Like, you guys make money, but you got to understand they make a hell of a lot more money when they break the law and they bring charity in.
Yeah, it's different.
Right. And we never claim to collect for
And like Mike said,
storm victims. We never
yeah,
claim to
and
collect.
like Mike said,
Right.
if they were serious about helping from Typhoon and that, they would use their viewers and post the link so that 100% of the revenue goes to the correct organization, but they don't do that. So
8
why don't
Miles
they
from
do that?
Home's
So
another
they
channel
can
that did, but they
pocket.
gave a link.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. So they do it that way, so they
we
can
gave
steal
We
your
gave
money.
the link. Yeah.
we put one video out when it happened, but we used the same link that 8 Miles from Home did. It was no direct to us, so yeah. And anything that we do collect on the channel as far as incoming stickers or anything that's done through PayPal or anything that we mention actually is done through taxes. So we have a tax account that handles that and license. So in the Philippines. But we don't collect on behalf of charities.
But George, why people have no morals? You know, to go to a third world country and then to profit out of charity. And to get away with it. A lot of these guys, they haven't been fined.
Well, it's not against you, Gogo, again. It's not that people don't have morals. They have their own version of morality. So in their book, they're following the good book, as it were, because that's all they know. An immoral person isn't because they don't have it's not because they're actually immoral. It's just that it's their perception of morality. Unless, of course, there's obviously something wrong with them psychologically. I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Dahmer. Then, of course, that there are exceptions to the rule, if that makes any sense. Like for instance, again, I'm bringing up Mark Thorin again. For example, Mark Thorin again. It's not a dig on him, but the fact that he broadcasted what he did, he believes he's in the right. If that makes any sense, his version of right may not be comparable to mine, may not be comparable to you, but may be comparable to, John Smith over there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the factions are always split, because
now they're also looking for acceptance or that he did the right thing.
Well, yeah, some of them honestly believe again that regardless of whatever crime is occurred, there's always somebody that agrees because it's their version of the truth, their version of morality.
Plausible deniability, just the feelings of. I mean, like, look, there's actually you can. I'm not too sure. I haven't looked back into it, but like, there's advertisings on TV, for example, about there's this one company trying to raise money for the Philippines, and here I am, and then you see this kid with for some reason the flies just keep on going in the kid's face and stuff like that, and this guy says, for 25 cents a day, you can feed a child in the Philippines. And I'm looking 25 cents. You can't even get pug for 25 cents. And you're telling me 25 cents can feed a child for a day. And this is where, unfortunately, there are people in the world who are just naive. Yes. Like some people either they choose to be naive or they get hit with emotions that they just want to do that. Like, I mean, it's until this day, we have people donating to Goodwill, and they think that they're doing a goodwill, not understanding that Goodwill is actually a for-profit organization. It's not a non-profit 501c. But people says, let me go to Goodwill and donate my stuff. Let me go to Goodwill. That is not a non-profit organization. It doesn't have a 501c. Their head person, I think, makes like $15 million a year. So, I'm sorry. People just are, I would even say that there's a huge amount of people that are just truly, you will say, ill-equipped with the knowledge of what is happening. Because if you really want to, give the money to Salvation Army. And I have my own thing about it.
When you look at the homeless people, right, they're still eating. They're still eating in the Philippines. And let me back up what I'm saying. Some are skinny, and if you offer them food, they're fussy. They want to eat something else. They don't want to eat that particular item. And allow me to take this a bit further. 40 pesos, you can actually purchase these little bags, which are full meals, and they cost 5 to 6 pesos each. So you could get three to 4 of them a day. So you could live in the street for 40 pesos a day. A full feed. But no one knows that. Well, some
You're
people
talking about
might.
Pug though, right? You're talking about the
No, proper, like you can get all the different Philippine dishes and they put them in a little plastic bag and you can get them for 5
He's talking
pesos.
about this, they're talking about Canadaria where they get a bag full of food. And
No, that's the big ones. If you go off into the street, you can find these little mini packets. And they're only 5 pesos each.
The turo. I mean, I don't know about 40 pesos for three meals.
It's got a little bit of chocolate,
maybe one meal.
got carrots, vegetables. Yeah. But my point is, there's no one starving in the Philippines. There's people that are homeless in the Philippines. But there's no one starving. You'll see the dogs starving because they don't choose to feed all the street dogs.
No,
But
you know what? There's
people want
no.
food.
I would have to butt in. I'm so sorry, and I highly disagree because I actually do a lot of. I've done medical missions in the Philippines. There's people starving. There's people starving. We're not saying they're fully emaciated or any of that stuff, but there are people starving. There are people who are not able to sometimes eat in a whole day. There's just those that exist. So we can't say that there's no people starving because I've been
that mental illness though. That's probably different.
No.
Like I'm talking about normal sane people.
Yeah, normal sane people. There are people that are starving. There are. Like I've been in those medical missions. Nothing wrong in regarding psychosis or any of those kind of things, mentally ill or whatever. Just pure people that are starving. So that's the thing where people do not see the things that sometimes people see. I've been in medical missions. I've been in medical missions, in Tondo. I've been in medical missions, up north past Antipolo and stuff like that. And I don't talk about that as much in regards for my experiences. This is the first time I really fully said that I work in medical missions, but I have to say that in this part because for you saying that there's no people starving in the Philippines, that's completely false.
Well, I mean, like even when you go into the jungle, right?
No, it's not. This is not the jungle. This is not the jungle. This is in the cities.
But those homeless people in the city that are laying down that are skinny, they're still eating. They're still eating
no. Yeah, some if they're eating from the garbage and stuff like that, that's fine. I'm talking about in like small towns and in towns in the cities and stuff like that. There truly are, and you'll feel really bad when you have to do that. So,
none of the food that the donators send to those vloggers ever goes to the real starving people. They would have to go out and specifically find those.
That I agree. That I completely agree. I completely agree on that particular situation because what it is, it's still about views. You're going to reach out the easiest way. What's around you. You're not going to go farther stuff. I mean, that's why you have the true medical missions in the Philippines where we'll bring in nurses, doctors, dentists in certain in places and do a lot of different things, and of course bring food and all those.
But you know what these vloggers do, like especially the Dumbaghetti ones, they go out into the street. They just find the kid beggars, and they're like, "Oh, look, he's outside McDonald's, so he hasn't eaten. He's been eating. He's come from where he's eating his rice, and then they give the the foods to them from the donators' money.
It's the
Now
Crocodile
that's not
Dundee
a
thing.
starving
Oh, look
person.
at that.
That's
Crocodile
common
Hunter.
beggar, right?
Right
Do you know what I
now,
mean?
the one thing that a lot of people actually, Heidi didn't believe me at first. While we were still in the U.S., I would tell stories that poverty is a real thing in the Philippines. And when when we say starving, we mean starving. Um, First off, I personally know of people who tuyo is dried fish. Okay, it's about this long, about an inch. It's about 5 inches by 1 inch. Dried fish. It's thin, about 2 millimeters tops thick. They boil the fish in water, and they then they keep the fish. They use the boiled water to feed 8 people, and then reboil the same fish in water again to feed them the next day. And then the other one would be they get rice and put salt on it, and that's all they eat.
Those are good. I've eaten
Right.
those at those places actually. Or if you want to go do an upgrade, don't do salt, put soy sauce. Just
Right. That's
just
the rich version, correct? Soy
Yeah.
sauce and oil. Now, actually,
Doesn't
So the
salt
other
retain
one,
water? Is that right? It will retain the water, having salt?
yeah. And then the other one, again, I'm not joking. Again, this one, we were talking about rock salt a couple days ago on the live.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the most appropriate word for rock salt, because another practice of poor folk is they get stones. I'm not making this up. They get stones. They wet the stone, they lick the stone, then they dip the stone in rock salt, and then they put the stone in their mouth with the rock salt, and that's it. That's the food. And
Because the saliva will kind of make your saliva comes out, you start swallowing it. It feels that your mouth has been taken care of, that you had the
correct.
flavors, and then you feel full after a certain
We
amount
could
of time.
market that. We could become millionaires.
Yeah,
A new
Yeah,
weight
you
loss
sell
method.
stone in a rock salt. Like you can sell it. You can sell it as rock
Forever
salt.
food, huh?
Right. So no, again, like at first Heidi thought I was joking. I said no, I'm not joking. This is a real thing. And no, there's like
Well, I see now in some
yeah,
of the
there
Asian countries I've seen where they're putting the rocks, but they're putting maybe some onions and other things, and that's what they do. They suck on the
now
rocks
Banana
first.
Man, he's here locally in the Angel City area. He goes under the
Abacan Bridge,
Abacan Bridge, right where the squatters are, and twice a day this guy goes over every day, twice a day, and feeds the kids
a little
bananas
something, whether it's bananas or small
and
can of
cookies, yeah,
sardines and
stuff like that.
But you know what a lot of these expats don't even realize? A lot of these squatters have government housing now. They just come out in the daytime and beg, and then they go back to their government housing.
Yeah, we're aware of that. Yeah. That a
Tho-
lot of them do have.
Those are the lucky ones, yes. But the Abacan Bridge area, that's different because you can actually see where they live. There's certain. It's kind of like kind of in the U.S. where
He's laughing.
they allegedly follow the poor guy. Like I was in Asheville one time. I swear, like I said, I was in Asheville one time, and there's this girl in the corner begging, like she's got a big sign, and Jiminy Crickets. She was cake face, long lashes, and everything. I'm like, okay.
Jiminy Crickets. Is that from Pinocchio?
Right? Yes. But yeah, no, she had thick makeup on and everything, standing on a street corner with long lashes and begging for food. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give you money.
So what Filipina P says, a sleepwalker. Hey, I got beef with Filipina P. When her channel first came out, they were using all the titles of my streams and all the content from my streams. So I know it was someone from my community that put her up to it.
Well, they said who put her up
Oh,
on her stuff.
someone's put their phone number here.
They did?
Go in there under the comments. George, private chat.
Just go to the private chat, by George.
Yeah, private jet, George. Right.
All right, MJ. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, stop.
That's
All right,
a good
guys,
one,
I gotta
MJ.
go. But thanks
Bye,
for
go.
having me
That's
on.
fun.
Bye, go. Thank you so much.
Have a good
Appreciate
one,
it.
guys.
Good talking. Yeah, good talking.
Yeah.
My God, the private chat is just cracking me up.
Yeah, I was in there trying to read it earlier. See, I'm not in there. I'm looking at a different screen. I'm not. We only have it up on the computer in front of us. So I was trying to get him to go in there because what the other people, what you guys can't see is in StreamYard there is a private chat where I'm assuming his name is Jonathan. That's what he's got himself put as now. He's trying to get back in, but
yeah,
go back
Expat
up.
John. Yeah.
No, Heidi, based off of what I saw,
think you're
he
saying
commented
down.
up earlier about he
I
did a
don't know where
personal
he-
attack. He commented on you and
David.
George.
I had
Based
to
off of what
put
he
that
said,
person
I wouldn't let him in.
because they came in as that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's our regular troll was in the house.
He's a narcissist.
yeah, and Jonathan, again, I get you and I understand where you're coming from, but if what I'm saying is if your behavior in the chat it to me and Heidi is not acceptable, I don't think you're gonna change when we actually put you up when we cam you up, if that's makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a question of character. If people can't see you and you're behaving this certain way, what makes you think you're gonna behave differently? You know what I mean?
What was that
And
about
multiple
Prayer
times that he's
Hunter and
given the
the red
chances, he
thing?
comes back, he just still does the same thing. So it's-
Right. Again, I did keep checking back on the chat to see if it got any better, got cleaner, but unfortunately,
He
no.
said free Jonathan, yeah.
free the eggplant.
Yeah, I don't get the eggplant reference.
Oh, because he just his big anomaly is like he goes, you're gay, you're G, you're G, you're G. That's all he kept saying, that this and that about me and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. I was like, can we get back? So I was like, since you want to call me that all the time, let's And he said something about an eggplant last time, so I said, okay, let me put an eggplant on there.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
He's mad.
There it is. Free Jonathan. Free Jonathan.
Yeah.
Food stamps. It's not food stamps, chosen. It's EBT, yo.
Right.
Hey, look,
Remember
they EBT's electronic nowadays. You get the
Yeah.
card now. And like
Remember
remember back
the-
in the days where you had
They were actually like
the
a little
book.
booklet.
Yeah,
and
you had
then
the
they would
booklet,
sell the
right? Back in the days.
Back in the
And
80s
then when
and
that
90s,
person goes in front of you, you're like, damn it.
I'll sell you $100 worth of the booklet
Hey,
for
they used to
$50.
make out on that. They used to sit in front
Yeah.
of the grocery stores and sell them to the richer people and stuff because there was no ID
50
needed.
cents for the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what,
$50
that government cheese was good.
No,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know
Oh my
what,
gosh,
man?
that's
block cheese. The block
yeah.
cheese.
Block cheese.
My friends would share that with me sometimes, and I would be the happiest person. I love block cheese.
Yeah.
I
Like,
really think
oh
it was
my,
like Velveeta. I think it was Velveeta or something like that. But it just didn't have
No,
a lid.
it was more solid than that. So
yeah,
I'll
but
tell
you're
you
used
my
to that in the
background. My
Philippines,
mom had
so-
some of that. There was peanut butter and there was pork in a can and everything. So there was 6 of us kids. My mom was single
Corned
at the
beef
time.
hash. Yeah, but my God, it's been a long time. I think in the 70s.
They used to put everything in there. They had like these packages that were actually given out by the offices or the churches, and they were all in silver cans with black lettering on them. So, yeah. My mom and dad divorced when I was like 3 years old, and so it was hard times sometimes with that many kids. So, with only
Grilled
one
cheese
parent,
sandwiches
even in
and
the
tomato
80s.
soup.
So,
Yeah, I never got to see all of that. The most I've seen was the EBT and the Welch cans.
Yeah.
The concentrate.
It's
Oh,
all
what-
electronic now.
You talking about the grape ones, the grape Welch?
Yeah, the grape. Yeah.
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 All right,
Every now and
guys.
then you get the oranges.
I think we will wrap this up. We're going into the 4th hour, and so
Later, Mike.
we got to hang out. But thank you, Mike, for coming in. Thank you, Michael. And we'll say our quick
Thank you,
goodbyes.
MJ. Thank you, MYK Mike.
Thank you, and thank you for British Expat dropping in. It's too bad, too sad we did not see the regular guy. He's more than welcome to come in on another time to actually respond to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ted, for giving away free memberships.
Thank you on that, Manny C.
Thank you, Manny C.
R. Cole. Guys, consider membership if you haven't. There's a ton of other content that we have here, and it's more than just basic live streams with photos of us and footage, some of it from Mexico and other places we've been. And we'll be dropping more content. Also, thank you to our regular members. And we do have Patreon, guys.
Thanks so much, Bruce, of course.
Appreciate it.
And Bruce, yeah, we're okay. No. Yeah, because I saw you apologize a couple times on that. No, we're okay with you, man.
Like I said, if it just would have been some basic cussing, because a lot of people will feel it's favoritism. Not really. You still have to be decent in the chat. You pose questions. We expect time in and time out. We're going to have people that will come into the live, and we do want to hear from them. It's, but thank you guys for dropping in. Chosen One was also in the house, one of our regulars. We miss you guys. Prepper, PH Expat Prepper. I think that was
Prepper John.
Yeah.
Prepper John renamed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are no
PH Expat Prepper.
Well, I guess there are Philippine preppers, but they're
Sarah
very far in
Tyson
between.
was in the house. And Ruby, of course, is kind of scrolling through here. But thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks so much, guys. We
God
love you
bless
all.
everybody, and we will see you guys soon. Message us. Let us know. Do a thumbs up.
Oh, not Prepper John. He's not
Share.
Prepper John. Okay,
Be sure
thank you.
to
Sorry.
subscribe
Sorry,
and like the
PH
video, guys.
Expat Prepper. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys. All right, bye.